Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne, two of the brand names of private school football in Texas. A dozen combined state championships, including last year when Dunne beat Lynch for the title. But this year, these two programs are searching for their identity and their first win in district play. Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne, a state title rematch. Next on the WFAA Digital Network, sponsored by Texas Health Resources. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rufino Stadium on the campus of Bishop Lynch High School. Mike Leslie, joined by David Goins this week here on a special Friday night edition of Thursday Night Lights, and we're dealing with some rain this evening. It's a little chilly out here at Rufino.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. You feel fall in all its glory. Wet night out here, but they're ready to play.
It should be a good football game, too, between two teams that just last year played for a state championship. Bishop Dunne knocked off Bishop Lynch 13-9 last December in the TAPS Division I state title game. A late score from Bishop Dunne in the final minute to take the lead in that game.
Yeah, when you think of TAPS football, private school football, these two schools are synonymous with that over the last couple years, and obviously we saw that play out in last year's state championship game. We'll see how it goes tonight.
They also played for a state championship 3 years ago, 2016. Bishop Lynch won that game over Bishop Dunne, so they're used to playing with an awful lot on the line. Tonight, though, this is a game where both teams are kind of trying to find themselves. We're not used to seeing Bishop Dunne at 0-2 in district play, Bishop Lynch at 0-1 in district play. Both teams hovering around 500, but that's where these teams are right now.
Yeah, Mike, it is surprising to think of Bishop Dunne and Bishop Lynch struggling not only in the pre-district play, but even in district play. Neither of them have a win, so obviously they want to get this rolling because we know it's not too difficult to get in those TAPS playoffs. You just need a couple wins in district.
Yeah, I mean, every team in Division I will make the playoffs the way that they have it set up. So they'll be a playoff team, both of these two teams, but it's a matter of seeding, it's a matter of positioning, and it's a matter of playing good football at that point. Both these teams are trying to find that right now. Bishop Dunne 0-2 after a loss in 11 overtimes last week against John Paul II. Nearly broke a national record. 12 overtimes is the national record. 11 OTs last week. Lost to JP2 39-37. So they're still kind of licking their wounds off of that one, but you can imagine that means they're fired up to play Bishop Lynch tonight.
No question. It sounds like they've already played 2 or 3 district games when you have 11 over. And if you're going to lose in overtime, rather just lose after 1. I mean, 11, that's tough, but probably even more motivation to get that first district win tonight.
Players to watch this evening, a linebacker from Bishop Dunne, Brennan Scott, a running back from Bishop Lynch, Darius Boyd, two guys that will probably see an awful lot of each other this evening, and two kids that are both very, very talented, David.
Yeah, Brennan Scott, no question about it, 4-star linebacker. This kid had dozens of offers. Right now he's committed to Kansas, and on the Bishop Lynch side, running back Darius Boyd. This guy's already got 1,000 rushing yards on the year, and we still have several games to play. Clearly he is kind of the key guy on the Lynch offense.
Yeah, for Brennan Scott, one of the absolute best linebackers in the nation, and you mentioned he's committed. He's verbally committed to Kansas. May, though, consider some other schools still. He's got 3 official visits still yet to be done, and one of those is going to be SMU. So he's still at least keeping his options open before National Signing Day. Darius Boyd, meanwhile, just shy of 7 yards per carry this season. Super, super talented running back who runs very, very hard. Starters for this evening. First for the visiting Bishop Dunne offense. Their quarterback is Simeon Evans, and he really drives the ship for this offense. Grant Barksdale and Greg Lane in the backfield with him. Houston Robinson, a big target to keep an eye on the outside for Bishop Dunne tonight. Defensively for the Falcons, their defense is really the motor for this football team. So much talent around this roster. Jordan Crook, the linebacker opposite Brennan Scott, both of them are sensational. John Emanuel, the defensive end, instinctive. His brother Josh Emanuel, number 13, broke his hand last week against JP2, so he won't play this evening. You'll see Seth Scott start in his place. Bishop Lynch, their starting quarterback, Michael Light, he was hurt last week and a sprained AC joint, so he's out tonight. Blaine Ritter, the starting quarterback this evening for Bishop Lynch. Darius Boyd, we mentioned before, certainly will be the focal point of the offense for the Friars. And defensively for Bishop Lynch, they also have a very good defense led by Aiden Howard. He was our player to watch a week ago when Bishop Lynch played Parish Episcopal. He's a very talented and very large senior, 6'3", 272 pounds, looking at Colorado, Villanova, and a couple others. Austin Bell and Justin Bell, two talented linebackers over the middle, and Dylan Monsieur, the leader of the secondary for Bishop Lynch. Head coaches tonight for Bishop Dunne, a 2-time state state champion Michael Johnson in his 11th season, 73-54 in that span. And for Lynch, the head coach Greg Price in his first year, 3-4 early on this season. Who gets their first district win tonight? Bishop Lynch hosts Bishop Dunne. Kickoff next on the WFAA Digital Network.
We humbly ask for your continued guidance and protection for all of us, but especially for the seniors we honor tonight. May they face
Thursday Night Lights, sponsored by Texas Health Resources, live from Rufino Stadium on the campus of Bishop Lynch High School. And tonight it is a state championship game rematch between Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne. Two schools this year, though, here in 2019, trying to figure out exactly who they are in this football season after being hit hard by graduation and transfers. An 0-2 in district play Bishop Dunne team, hosted by 0-1 in district Bishop Lynch tonight. David Goins and Mike Leslie here with you in the booth now and ready for kickoff. Bishop Dunne won the toss but deferred to the second half, so it will be Bishop Lynch football to start the football game this evening, and probably a good thing for Bishop Lynch. They want to try and run the football, grind some clock, and take advantage of, David, some sloppy conditions here tonight.
Yeah, I think if you're a run-first team, you're kind of hoping the sloppy conditions will hold up. As it is now, it actually looks pretty decent. The rain has stopped. I know we had a lot of, quote-unquote Friday night games last night, and it was pretty torrential throughout North Texas, but it looks like a pretty good night for football as we do this kickoff.
Isaiah Schmidtke to receive the opening kickoff, and a nice return up the middle out to the 30-yard line, and that's where the backup quarterback, Blaine Ritter, and the Bishop Lynch offense will come out on the football field. Michael Light, the ordinary starter for this Friars offense, a junior, out this week, though, due to injury, has a sprained AC joint. So we see Blaine Ritter, the sophomore, who last week came in after Light's injury late in the second quarter, completed 6 of 11 passes for 15 yards last week. But this is an offense that doesn't try to do the majority of its work through the air. They're trying to run the football with big number 24, Darius Boyd, who dots the I here on 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. Play action, though, and Ritter's going to roll out complete on the little side route to Webster Walls and a pickup of a few.
Yeah, you got to figure with a sophomore quarterback in there, Mike, they're definitely going to lean heavily on the run game, though, at least on first down. That was a nice little rollout there.
Pickup of about 6 on the opening play of the game. Webster Walls and Weston Walls, a pair of brothers, one a sophomore. Webster's the sophomore. Both of them will make plays in the passing game. A week ago, we saw Weston Walls catch a touchdown pass. His first touchdown of the year last week against Parish Episcopal. 2nd down and 4 now for Ritter under center. Single back in the backfield is Darius Boyd, and he'll get the toss. Nowhere to go, though. Immediately on top of him is Jordan Crook. And he takes him down for a loss, and that'll set up 3rd down and about 7.
Yeah, solid tackle there by the middle linebackers. That defensive line certainly knowing that that's going to be what Bishop Lynch is looking to do is run the ball effectively early. I mean, they're going to have to do that to really make progress offensively. And, you know, they have a 3rd and manageable here, I'd say, on their first drive.
3rd down, and I guess we'll call it about 6 here. Our the scoreboard here in-house says 1st and 6, and therefore so does our graphic, but it is indeed 3rd down and 6. Ritter's going to throw for it. Pump fakes and eventually throws it out there. That ball was nearly intercepted, tipped off the hands and nearly into the hands of a defender. Jamal Jordan out there to try and make the play. Carlos Marquez had it go through his hands.
Yeah, you can see the quarterback under duress there. Marquez did what he could to try to get the completion. Even if he had, he would have been about 3 yards short, which puts him in punting formation regardless.
The quarterback, Blaine Ritter, again, he's the backup to Michael Light, but the starter this evening is also the punter and kicker for this Bishop Lynch football team. So you'll see him come out here to punt the football away. On one hop, Bishop Lynch sees Brian Fleming scoop it up for Dunne, and he gets out across the 40-yard line to the 43. And that's where we'll see Simeon Evans and company for the first time today.
That's a good, solid defensive stand for Bishop Dunne. You got to think after last week, we talked about it in the open. You mentioned it in the open with their, 11 overtime affair. I know, these are high school kids. They've had a week to recoup, but still, that's a lot of football and a nice first possession defensively for Bishop Dunne.
Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne certainly know each other quite well. Definitely a rivalry between these two, and a ever-growing rivalry as the first play of the game for Bishop Dunne goes up the middle in the hands of Grant and Barksdale for a pickup of about 3. But this rivalry has only grown, David, over the course of the last couple of years. They played for a state championship in 2016. Bishop Lynch came out on the winning side that year. They played again for a state title last year, and Bishop Dunne exacted some revenge with a 13-9 win on a touchdown in the final minute of that football game. So these two teams are very used to one another, and as head coach Greg Price for Bishop Lynch said, that they need no introduction, these two programs. And a little introduction right there at the 45-yard line as the entire Bishop Lynch front four taking down Greg Lane for no gain. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, sure. On that 2nd down play, that direct handoff to the running back there with 3 wide out. The idea is to have Bishop Lynch's defense be not so condensed in the middle, but no fooling anybody on that run play.
It's been wet all day here at Rufino Stadium, but at least for the moment, we don't have any active rain. The field is still wet. The ball will assuredly still be wet, and that will make 3rd down and 8s like this for Simeon Evans a little more complicated. He steps up in the pocket. Now he's going to try and run for it. Nowhere to go because very quickly, right on top of him was Justin Bell, and that forces 4th down for the Dunne offense.
Excellent pursuit there on defense. Obviously, they're in a passing situation on 3rd and 8. Didn't see anybody downfield. Excellent secondary defense by Bishop Lynch, and then the pursuit by the middle part of the defense, and only a gain of 3, and got ourselves another punt.
Justin Bell is kind of the rover type, half linebacker, half defensive back for this Bishop Lynch defense, and shows off a little bit of the speed. That snaps over top of the head of the punter. Over top of his head, he's going to try and punt it. He gets it off, but it goes nowhere. That's officially a blocked punt, and it's going to be out of bounds inside the Dunne 30-yard line. The snap over the head of Bishop Dunne's punter, Adrian Munoz. The long snapper, Sam Strong, puts it over his head. Nothing that Munoz can do with it. Kicks it right into the leg, actually, of Justin Bell. Dunne tried to scoop it up. That was actually Brennan Scott, who's their star linebacker, who tried to scoop it up and do something with it, only able to get the ball to the 29-yard line. So now Bishop Lynch's offense set up beautifully deep in Bishop Dunne territory here just a little over 3 minutes into this first quarter.
Yeah, I don't know if it goes down as a turnover technically. It's a pretty ineffective fourth down situation for Bishop Dunne. They probably just jumped there too. We'll see what the call is.
Each linesman on either side came in, and
they've been offside.
It will indeed be offsides on the Bishop Dunne defense. Our officiating crew this evening, Joe Greer, our crew chief and referee. That's the gentleman you see right there signaling the offsides against Bishop Dunne. His crew out there with him, Ricky Upshaw, Andrew Jewell, Kevin Knowles, Derek Tankersley, Jeremy Hennickson, and Michael Kraft. First down and 5 now for Bishop Lynch. Again, figure you're going to see a heavy dose of Darius Boyd tonight, given that it is still pretty sloppy out there despite the fact that it's not currently raining. Number 24 is going to get quite a few carries tonight. This time they go to the up back, though, straight up the middle, and again a flag flies in right as the ball was snapped. That was Isaiah Schmidtke with the carry.
That's kind of in that holding territory. We'll see. Oh, maybe another offsides here. Let's see.
See what Joe Greer has to say this time. It is indeed yet another offside. So a free 10 yards and a free first down for this Bishop Lynch offense before they've officially snapped the football.
Yeah, 10 free yards. The Falcons defense a bit anxious.
So first and 10 from the 19. Ritter with the single back behind him. It's Boyd. And Boyd will get the handoff on the counter. Breaks through the first tackle, and he's into the secondary. Boyd cuts back, end zone, touchdown, Bishop Lynch.
You're not going to get a more efficient, essentially one-play drive, Mike, right there. It was a 19-yard touchdown there by Boyd after those 2 5-yard offsides by Bishop Dunne. And there you see it right there, straight up the gut. Heck of a run there.
John Emanuel got a whole lot of his undershirt, but unfortunately for him, nothing else. And Boyd able to break through into the secondary, and the cutback inside the 10 got him into the end zone. And with that and the extra point, it is 7-0 in favor of Bishop Lynch, just a little over 3.5 minutes in tonight. See, can we get one more look at the touchdown? Do we have that still? That's the extra point. So
that was a fine extra point, by the way.
It was indeed up and through off the foot of Blaine Ritter.
Very solid, yes.
So 7-0 Bishop Lynch, your score. 8:26 on the clock here in the first quarter. Darius Boyd, the first one to break through, and all of that, of course, set up by the snap over the head of Bishop Dunne punter Adrian Munoz. He did all that he could with he did officially punt the football. He got his foot on the ball. It didn't go very far. It ended up going right into the leg of Bishop Lynch linebacker Justin Bell. And that set up Bishop Lynch on the 29-yard line. You mentioned it, the back-to-back offsides penalties against the Dunne offense only made things easier for this Bishop Lynch offense. First and 10 from the 19, and from that 19-yard line to the house goes Darius Boyd, and it's 7-0.
One play and in. 2 things. Mistake mitigation is going to be key on nights like tonight. Obviously, the snap over the punter is a fairly significant mistake here so far for Bishop Dunne.
The kickoff off the foot of Fabian Gutierrez goes way out of bounds, and that's going to be a penalty, and very good field position for Bishop Dunne as they try to find an answer here tonight. But the sloppiness, I talked with both coaches before the game, head coach Greg Price from Bishop Lynch and Michael Johnson from Bishop Dunne, and I think both kind of, without necessarily outright saying it, I think they both kind of feel like the sloppy nature of the, as we've lost did we lose a camera there? It is, it's a little sloppy out here, and apparently that's making things a little complicated for our cameras as well here at Ruffino Stadium. We will try and figure that out as soon as humanly possible. In the meantime, I guess we'll do a radio call for you and paint the picture for you until we get the camera back here at Ruffino Stadium. It'll be first and 10 for the Bishop Dunne offense. Simeon Evans in shotgun. 2 backs in the backfield with him to either side. Play action, throws on the near side. Tipped and intercepted. Isaiah Schmidtke with the interception at the 36-yard line. Dragged down from behind inside the 30.
Well, what you had right there, I know folks are not seeing the picture right now, but basically a slant pass there that went off the wide receiver's hands directly into the tailback or defensive back's hands for that interception for Bishop Lynch. They are set up. You have a sophomore quarterback who's had a short field on the last 2 drives, and that's exactly what you'd want to see if you're Bishop Lynch. They're going to start this third drive of the game for them at the 27-yard line, leading 7-0, and we promise a picture is coming.
our crew is working on it, but again, we'll do a radio call in the meantime, a timeout called by Bishop Lynch, and perhaps that gives us an opportunity to figure out what ails our broadcast at the moment. But 7-0 our score right now, thanks to the Darius Boyd touchdown run from 19 yards out, and then just a moment ago, behind the lack of a picture, unfortunately, at the moment, an interception there by Isaiah Schmidtke. And it is 7-0 Boyd, and they've got the football back again deep in Bishop Dunne territory.
I mean, maybe it's okay that we're in black, considering the team in black. Bishop Lynch has kind of made the loudest impression here in the first quarter with that big interception, and of course taking advantage of the muff punt going over the punter's head for that touchdown just a few minutes ago. So where we sit right now with 8:19 left in the first, Bishop Lynch will begin this drive on the 27-yard line of Bishop Dunne. So they've got a short field to play with, and they already have a 1-touchdown lead as we get started yet again.
Turns out that the issue is with the computer itself, not the cameras. We're trying to restart it. For those that are back in studio wondering what's happening, we are indeed on it, and we are the issue is on our end, not on y'all's end. Trying to send text messages and communicate that to them as well. Meanwhile, that first down play went for about 6 yards.
Yeah,
it'll be
solid.
2nd down and 4 for this Bishop Lynch offense.
It is nice to see some of our Facebook Live fans kind of interact with us as we're.
That is one thing that has been great about this whole concept from the jump, is seeing comments from fans from all over the country. Blaine Ritter missed the handoff to Darius Boyd there on 2nd down and 4, taken down in the backfield.
Yeah, he was lucky to try to get back to the line of scrimmage there. He may have gotten there maybe a half a yard short. But again, 3rd and 4, which is manageable with the sophomore quarterback and someone who has as much talent as Darius Boyd, who's no doubt will be on the field here in a third down environment.
The fact that you're seeing a mountain right now is a good sign. That means our computer is restarting. We're getting closer and closer. We do apologize, guys, for the technical difficulties here. We had the laptop that runs the whole broadcast die on us. Meanwhile, 3rd down and 4. Blaine Ritter under center. Darius Boyd, the single back in the backfield. A flag flies. They jumped off sides again, but into the secondary again goes Darius Boyd. Touchdown from 21 yards out. You can pick up that flag and wave it off. It's 13-0. Bishop Lynch in front.
Yeah, that'll be declined as once again the Falcons jump. That'll be their 3rd offside of the first quarter. Of course, it's declined, and Bishop Lynch, the Friars, are up 13-0, pending the extra point. And a picture should be coming relatively soon. That is like a placid Bob Ross painting there. I mean, that is. I am calm now after just seeing that desktop background. So.
You know what? Anytime you can be calm when things are not going the way that they're supposed to, that's a very, very good sign. Extra point is up and through off the foot of Fabian Gutierrez.
How calm do you think they are on the Bishop Dunne Falcons sideline? What do you think Coach Michael Johnson's talking about right now? When your team, I think they think they're going to win this game coming into tonight, and they're really behind the 8 ball. Not even a half a quarter into this game. 6:55 left in the first, and they're down 2 scores.
Well, we are waiting for the kickoff and waiting for our cameras to come back, which, by the way, you're about to see here momentarily. There we are. We have our cameras back up and running. Great work by our director this evening. Ian is working hard over here trying to get everything situated for us. Finally back up and running. Ian Gordon and Raul Garcia, our crew this evening. Raul's up on top trying to stay dry.
We had really an amazing amount of creative license there, Mike. I mean, we could have We could have said anything, you know. Look at that blimp. No,
we promise you, we didn't lie to you at all over the course of the last 4 or
Nope.
5 minutes as we were setting that up. As you can see, the score is indeed 14-0 in favor of Bishop Lynch. What you did miss, the interception by Isaiah Schmidtke and a 23-yard touchdown run by Darius Boyd to make it 14-0 in favor of Bishop Lynch here midway through quarter number 1. Short kickoff here from Bishop Lynch, fielded by Dunne's Brian Fleming, the sophomore, still on his feet, a flag on the far side.
Yeah, I got a couple
will probably
flags.
bring this back inside the 20-yard line as he got out to about the 25, but that'll get chunked in half about.
It's kind of that hands in the back kind of territory on a kickoff. We'll see where that lands.
We saw quite a bit of the officiating crew a week ago. We've seen a decent bit of Joe Greer and company here in the opening 5 minutes and 13 seconds. It's a chop block.
Yeah.
And that's going to be
Set him back.
half the distance to the goal, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Simeon Evans and company from about the 12-yard line, I would guess, based on where he was taken down. Looks like they're going to mark it at the 11. Yep. So now here for Bishop Dunne, this is not a situation that they expected to be in this evening. Down 14-0, not yet midway through this first quarter of play.
4 offensive plays that haven't netted much, and one that was devastating. Obviously, that interception on first down last play, or last drive.
This handoff goes to Grant Barksdale, and nowhere for him to go yet again. Logan Monroe meeting him at the line of scrimmage. And it'll be 2nd down, and I guess we'll say met him just a hair beyond the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 9. Again, we do appreciate you guys joining us here on Thursday Night Lights, a special Friday night edition of Thursday Night Lights here on the WFAA Digital Network, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and WFAA.com, the 3 different places you can find our stream. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, please drop a note in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're tuning in to see as Simeon Evans struggles his way back to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe a hair beyond that. It got to about the 13-yard line, it appears. It'll be 3rd down and 8. But again, please let us know where you're watching from. We'll see people tuning in from Ohio and California and New York and all over the country. We've seen people. We actually had somebody last week that was watching from Ireland, of all places, tuning in to watch some Texas high school football. So let us know where you're watching from and who you're tuning in to see this evening, as it's 3rd down and 8 now for Evans. 5:31 and moving, and a lot of movement before the snap.
Back him up 5. It's going to be a false start.
It is indeed. And 3rd and long just became 3rd and longer.
Yeah, early on here for Bishop Dunne, certainly some self-inflicted wounds here with the penalties. I mean, really a lot of penalties defensively and the one on the offense. And this is obviously a tough 3rd and 13. I mean, you got to pass it here, but you also want to be careful how what can happen here on 3rd down when I guess you have to pass.
Evans is certainly more dangerous with his feet, but he can throw the football downfield. Yep. He's got a man wide open over the middle. 1st down and quite a bit more. Nicholas Johnson out across the 35. And that's really the first truly positive play for Bishop Dunne tonight. They needed that just to kind of get out of the rut they were in for the first 6 minutes and change of this football game.
Yeah, Nicholas Johnson was just hanging out with a lot of green and really no defender around him, and that is easy pickings for Simeon Evans. He's going to find him every time.
Marty Kiernan says he's an ex-Friar, says this is so cool to be able to tune in. We appreciate you being with us, and please click the share button. Let your friends and family know that may also be ex-Friars or current Friars or whatever the case may be, that they too can tune in and see what is right now a very fast start for this Bishop Lynch football team, up 14-0. Saw one comment that Diane Cox says she's watching from Ennis. Kurt Wyman says he's watching from far north Dallas, so we haven't gone too far afield just yet, still in the DFW Metroplex with our comments so far. But again, please let us know where you guys are tuning in from tonight, as it's 2nd down and 4, handoff straight up the middle and into a wall goes Grant Barksdale.
Yeah, Barksdale picked up about 4 yards on that 1st down play. Maybe about a yard on this one. So it looks like we're kind of in that 3rd and 5 range, which obviously on this drive already, a pretty key 3rd down conversion. That was 3rd and 13 and deep in their own, end zones or close to their end zone. So big pickup there for Bishop Dunne previously in this drive. See if they can keep the drive alive here as we approach midfield. About 4 minutes left in the first.
Simeon Evans in shotgun. Kind of a pistol formation as he's got a back directly behind him. On 3rd down and 4, also a back directly to his left, that's Barksdale. Steps up in the pocket. He's got one man to beat if he wants to run for the first down. Slips down very close to the mark. Will he have a first down? It's extremely close.
I think he probably will, yeah.
The far sideline judge is signaling that it is a first down, and they're moving the chains. It was very close the way he slipped down. Had to get to the 47 as we look at the replay here. Really, really close, but they gave him the spot.
Yeah, I think he made that, especially with the ball extension. Probably could even give him a little more than they did, but the drive continues. 2 3rd down conversions here for Bishop Dunne, so a nice response after that Bishop Lynch last touchdown put him up 14-0.
1st and 10 now from the 47-yard line. Motion in the backfield, a bobbled snap. Evans comes up with it and able to get back just beyond the line of scrimmage there. I don't know if it was the snap that was bad or if it was the motion that threw off his focus, but it goes down as no gain in 2nd down and 10. Seeing a lot of folks saying they're watching from far north Dallas. Robin Lord Kate says she's watching with her sick friar. I'm assuming maybe a little one that's not feeling well, and tonight would not be the night to come out if you're not feeling great. It's wet and cold and not particularly nice. It's perfect football weather, though. That's a big hit. Did the football break loose? Yes, it did. Bishop Lynch thinks they have it, and they do. Out of the pile with the football comes Caleb Ajakaye, and it's Bishop Lynch ball.
Another big turnover there, especially on a running play. I want to get a replay of when exactly he lost possession.
He lost it kind of halfway through the run. You see, he's trying to hold it behind his back.
Basically stripped right out of his hands.
That's Jordan Crook, who's a key linebacker for this football team as well, but does see some time on offense, is key for this team both in the running game and in the passing game, but lost control of it, tried to pin it to his back, but couldn't. And that's obviously, he took a big hit as he was trying to do that. That's very hard to do. And eventually the ball broke loose. Ajakaye out of the pile with it. And again, Bishop Lynch in a very advantageous situation. Now they go Wildcat as it's Boyd getting the direct snap and directly into the chest of Brennan Scott right at midfield.
Yeah, these coaches preach ball security as best you can for, high school students. That's something that takes time to learn. And, he probably thought once he had the ball going where he's at and gets behind him and hoping to avoid that big hit, but that hit came, and Bishop Lynch took advantage there. So it looks like got a bit of a timeout here for the Friars.
Yeah, their second timeout already here in the opening quarter. 2:05 to play, first frame, and that is 2 timeouts off the board for the Friars. Take another look at the comments. We're seeing an awful lot of comments on where people are watching from. We do appreciate you guys actually playing along. Not every week do the viewers actually drop these comments as frequently as y'all are, letting us know where you're watching from. But Dave Hopper says he's watching high school football from the comments just jumped on me. I apologize, Dave. I just lost it. Where did it go? Watching in Waterloo, Illinois. Hopping on to watch the Friars play. Paul Wilson says he's a Bishop Lynch alumnus watching from San Marcos, Texas.
Yep, got some Central Texas love. We got somebody watching from Round Rock as well, so that's good to see in the general 512 area.
Very nice. Out of the timeout, it'll be 2nd down and 7 for Bishop Lynch, right from midfield. And that's again, it snapped right over the head of Darius Boyd as he was in the Wildcat, taken down in the backfield, nowhere for him to go. Immediately on top of him was John Emanuel. Brennan Scott came in to finish him off, and a big loss on 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, probably about a loss of actually I think that's forward momentum was stopped at the 40, but he went down around the 35, so they're going to actually get a little bit of a benefit there to where this 3rd down will put him at. But yeah, big play by the Falcons defense there.
Still 3rd and 17. Again, the Wildcat formation, and the handoff from Darius Boyd goes to Luke Payseur, and he nearly got to the first down marker all the way out to the 45. Very nice run from Payseur. And that's going to make 4th down at least a decision here for Bishop Lynch from the Dunne 45-yard line.
Yeah, I think in high school football, especially this down and distance, it almost seems like teams go for it more on 4th than punt. I mean, it's such a skill set and really excellent punting and pinning your opponent that many times in high school, I mean, the math just says go for it.
And with big Darius Boyd, 6 foot, 207 pounds, 1,000-yard rusher already on the year. He dots the I here on 4th down and 2. Ritter under center. They do indeed snap it. Handoff to Boyd. Stood up immediately and driven back. And big surprise, who's right there to make the play? Brennan Scott.
Yep, they're yeah, that was obviously a big defensive stop there by the Falcons. You know, Bishop Lynch lining up in a formation that more or less telegraphed what they were going to do. But when you have someone, as talented as Darius Boyd, you can do that. But in this case, obviously the Falcons were ready for it and got the big stop.
Our 2 players to watch this evening going nose to nose on a 4th down and 2. And Bishop Dunne gets the better of it. They get the 4th down stop. They create the turnover on downs. That could have been a false start there. They didn't catch the right guard, leaning back in his stance, and Evans is going to try and take advantage of it. Going deep down the left sideline, complete inside the 20-yard line as he finds Nicholas Johnson. 1st down in the red zone.
Yeah, Nicholas Johnson has had himself a pretty productive first quarter with 2 big receptions of over 20 yards. Obviously, this one is north of 30, close to 40 yards on that reception. So he's had a big first quarter. He's certainly in sync with his quarterback.
A 33-yard hookup down 2. They're going to mark him at the 22, so just outside of the red zone. And 1st and 10 for Simeon Evans and company. Waning seconds of the first quarter. Evans is going to keep it himself off the fake. He's got some running room, lowers his shoulder across. He's got the 1st down inside the 10.
Well, a pretty nice answer there by Bishop Dunne as we head to the end of the first quarter. That was a great keeper there around the end, and he was definitely thinking about end zone, but they're set up nicely 1st and goal from the 5 as the second quarter will get underway.
That is indeed the end of the opening frame. 14-0 in favor of Bishop Lynch. An outstanding start, especially the first 6 minutes or so of this first quarter was all Bishop Lynch. Eventually, Bishop Dunne has started to make some plays. The big 3rd down and 13 conversion you mentioned earlier. Of course, the 4th down and 2 stop here just moments ago. And then this pass you saw just a minute ago from Evans to Nicholas Johnson to get them down inside the scoring zone. And now knocking on the door inside the 10-yard line. They'll have 1st and goal for the first play of this second quarter. So Dunne is finally, found their legs here in this football game, but not before finding themselves in a 14-0 hole.
Sure, and Bishop Lynch obviously benefited from the turnover from Bishop Dunne with that interception. And in some ways, the Falcons have benefited from not necessarily a turnover, but when you don't convert on 4th and 2 and you're basically in the middle of the field, that's a pretty good flip of the field for Bishop Dunne, and they've taken advantage up until this point. They're on a, right at a, 55-yard drive at this point, and looking to get on the scoreboard and make this game a little bit tighter on Thursday Night Lights.
Both of Bishop Lynch's touchdowns, by the way, came off of miscues from Bishop Dunne. First, the punt snap that went over the punter's head that led to the 19-yard touchdown run from Darius Boyd, and then, as you mentioned, the interception that led to yet another touchdown run from Boyd. But here on the first play of the second quarter, fighting his way to the end zone, touchdown. In for 6 is Jordan Crook, and Bishop Dunne has cut the lead in half.
Yep, just kind of a direct snap to Crook. He got his wide receiver got blown up there, but he had a hole established by that nice block there, and he made his way into the end zone. And the Falcons are an extra point away from making this just a 7-point game.
11:54 on the clock here, second quarter. Out for the extra point is Adrian Munoz. Puts it up, and through close to that left upright, and it's 14-7. One play in to this second quarter. Again, Jordan Crook with the touchdown run for Bishop Dunne. The 4th and 2 stop. Give a lot of credit to the linebacking core of Bishop Dunne, specifically, of course, Brendan Scott, big number 9, 4-star recruit on his way to Kansas, meeting Darius Boyd in the hole, the big stop on 4th down and 2, creating the opportunity for this Bishop Dunne offense to finally get something rolling downhill. Evans hits Nicholas Johnson to get just outside the 20-yard line, a nice run from Evans to get inside the 10, and then Jordan Crook finishing the drive off with the touchdown run, and it's 14-7.
You know, from our vantage point from here, Mike, you're looking at the road sideline of Bishop Dunne High School. But on the home sideline here for Bishop Lynch, you know, the stands are filling in despite it being pretty chilly. Chilliest Friday we've had easily this fall.
No doubt.
The stands are still wet, but it's not raining, so that's a good thing. So, the folks are enjoying their Friday night.
Melanie Garrison Farrell commenting in the on the Facebook post saying that she's watching from Rowlett. Shout out to her husband and Bishop Lynch Coach Farrell, still supporting from home. Don't blame you for supporting from home on this night. It's not warm, and it's been wet all day long. That kickoff goes into the end zone, and a touchback it will be, and that'll bring it out to the 25-yard line for Bishop Lynch's offense.
You know, we've got people watching from, you know, various parts of the state. It'd be really cool if someone tuned in from Bishop, Texas. Have you ever been to Bishop, Texas?
I don't believe that I have.
No, Nueces County, just southwest of Corpus Christi.
Okay.
Yeah, not a large place, but it's there.
Is this home for you?
No. Actually, well,
close to it.
My brother was born there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We've got a big Astros fan on the broadcast tonight in Mr. David Goins, who's, I think, probably struggling a little bit, you know, trying to split his brain and see some updates from time to time on what's happening in that baseball game. In Game 3 of the World Series up in Washington, is the carry there was in the hands of Darius Boyd and a pickup of about 4.
Yeah, this will be a big drive, I think, for Bishop Lynch. You know, they, had to stop on 4th down, were unable to convert on 4th down, but for the most part have been able to move the ball. So, certainly an opportunity to continue their momentum.
I formation once again from this Bishop Lynch offense, and the handoff goes to Boyd. Good hole for him. He's got the first down, dragging a tackler close to the 40-yard line. That's Jordan Crook on his back, but he gets out to the 39, and it'll be a fresh set of downs for the Friars. Nice job to break through the arm tackles right at the line of scrimmage. You saw Seth Scott, and he's the backup. Seth Scott, just a freshman, 5'9", 180-pound freshman, which, as far as freshmen go, that's a pretty big freshman, starting tonight in place of Josh Emanuel, who broke his hand last week against JP2. They're very happy with who this young freshman is and who he could be for this program as Emanuel falls forward for a pickup of 2 on first down. This is his first ever Bishop Dunne, Bishop Lynch game, and certainly a big moment for Seth Scott, trying to fill the void of one of the most talented linebackers in Texas in Josh Emanuel, big number 13. So there's a lot on Seth Scott's shoulders this evening. He's not trying to do it alone. He's got a lot of talent around him. Pearson Hendricks, Jordan Crook, Brendan Scott, the other 3 starting linebackers, very, very talented players. But a big spot for the freshman linebacker. Play action here on 2nd down and 7. Deep over the middle, complete for the first down. Logan Monroe on the receiving end at the 45.
Yeah, nice pickup there by Monroe. I'm going to guess, because sometimes you have to do that, is he a tight end? Because he's got a tight end frame.
Logan Monroe, believe it or not commonly playing offense for this football team. He's one of the starting linebackers for this team, and as you mentioned, a tight end frame, 6'1", 235, certainly qualifies. This team, when I talked with Greg Price, their head coach, over the course of the last couple of weeks, because we saw them last week as well against Parish Episcopal, the tight ends that he mentioned, Buzz Jurdy, who's 6'4", certainly fits the mold of a tight end, is on 1st and 10, they throw on the near side. That ball was dangerous. Brendan Scott had a chance at it. It goes off the chest of Matt McLaughlin. But yeah, Buzz Jurdy, Weston Walls, Webster Walls, all mentioned as guys that may play a little bit of tight end. Aiden Howard, their big defensive end, may play some tight end at times, but he's more of a blocking tight end. No mention at any point of the young man we saw catch a pass just a moment ago, Logan Monroe. But
well, he did
certainly big enough and good enough hands to make the play.
Sure, and Ritter found him. He was essentially unguarded, so nice pickup there.
2nd down and 10 after the incompletion. 9 minutes, 30 seconds to play here in the second quarter. 14-7. Bishop Lynch leading Bishop Dunne. Hard count from Ritter and the handoff, and nowhere to go for Isaiah Schmidtke. Quickly in the backfield and making the play is John Emanuel, and it'll be 3rd down and long.
Well, I think this is that posture that if you're the Friars, you kind of want to, every team wants to stay out of 3rd and long, but with, a sophomore quarterback in there, Blaine Ritter, this will be a challenge to see how he, handles this 3rd and 10. Obviously, he converted a pretty nice 2nd and 8, but stakes are a little higher right here. We'll see how they do.
3rd and 11 from the Bishop Dunne 46. Ritter throws on the far side. He's got Monsieur on the little wide receiver screen. Runs into his own man, though, and that's going to give an opportunity for Bishop Dunne's defense to swarm around him. The pass was a little high, which made it hard for Monsieur to get upfield quickly. And then you see out on the outside, his lead blocker was Jordan Burnett, and Burnett kind of got blown up by the defensive back and pushed right back into the feet of Monsieur.
Yeah, that was a screenplay that was slow in developing, and like you said, the one blocker he had out there kind of lost his footing, and once that happened, the play was more or less blown up. 4th and 9, and this is the time you get into that punt formation.
It is Ritter to punt it away for Bishop Lynch. Deep to return for Bishop Dunne, Brian Fleming. Line drive punt fielded at the 9 by Fleming. He's got some space. He's going to try and do something with it, but quickly swarmed and taken down. A pickup of maybe 2 on the punt return. And from their own 11, Bishop Dunne gets back to work. Another look at the Facebook comments here. Gwyn, I apologize. I'm going to try and pronounce your last name here. Pasetapa? I'm not entirely sure, but Gwyn, we'll just call you Gwyn. Gwyn says, shout out to the players on this cold and wet Friday night, and also says, go Falcons, a big Bishop Dunne fan. No doubt, cold and wet, and it's wetter now than maybe it was earlier. It's a little hard to tell exactly how hard it's raining, but we're definitely starting to see at least a mist, maybe a little bit more than that, coming down on these players as we're about midway through quarter number 2. And Bishop Dunne gets back to work with Simeon Evans in shotgun. Play action, pulls it down, rolls on the near side, now throws it over the middle. He's got a man open. It's Johnson again out across the 30-yard line. Simeon Evans to Nicholas Johnson is working today.
Yeah, that's 3 receptions. And Johnson, talk about ball security, fortunate to keep that from being a fumble.
This is very bad news for Bishop Dunne if it's serious in any way, shape, or form. Back behind the play, Simeon Evans, their starting quarterback, down on the field at the 7-yard line and still being tended to by the trainers, has not gotten to his feet. You want an idea of just how important Simeon Evans is to what this Bishop Dunne offense is? First of all, he's their only returning starter on the offensive side of the ball for this football team. And to take it to a further level, talking with Greg Price, the head coach of Bishop Lynch, about Bishop Dunne's offense, I said, tell me when you look at the film, when you watch this Bishop Dunne team and you see their offense, what do you see? And he said, it is all their quarterback. Evans is up and walking off under his own power now. It looks like is he holding his right shoulder perhaps?
Hard to tell.
It's hard to tell from all the way over here. I mean,
it wasn't anything that I think we saw in real time on that play. I don't know if a replay would illuminate anything, but I didn't see him take a big hit, but clearly walking off under his own power, I think, is probably a good sign. We'll see how the rest of the game goes for Simeon Evans.
And this becomes very complex for Bishop Dunne. Their backup quarterback is Alex Orgy, a sophomore, a very, very talented sophomore, but he is ineligible for this first half because of a targeting penalty last week, so he can't play until the second half of this football game. So it's Nicholas Johnson taking the snap, the handoff, goes nowhere, and it's going to be second down and long as Bishop Lynch's defense was all over that one. The passing threat right now is virtually non-existent for Bishop Dunne, as Nicholas Johnson, one of their stud wide receivers, is now forced to take the snap from center, and it'll be second down and 15 after that big loss. We'll try and keep an eye on what's happening with Simeon Evans on the sideline. Meanwhile, Johnson takes the snap, handoff up the middle, and nowhere to go once again. Taken down in the backfield, coming through to make the play is Justin Bell. Pearson Hendricks, the running back on the play, but
yeah, Bishop Lynch obviously is keying in on running plays now, given the quarterback situation with Bishop Dunne. And the fact that their number one backup, can't play until the second half. Bishop Dunne's kind of in a kind of hold-on mode here. We'll see how they do here. Third and a really long 17.
If Simeon Evans is hurt in any way, shape, or form in a serious fashion, it's obviously a problem for this Bishop Dunne offense. But I will say this, 6 minutes and 21 seconds from now when Alex Orji can come on the field, that is a very, very talented sophomore. One of the best safeties in the area already as a sophomore, and a kid who's waiting in the wings to play some quarterback in the future. That pass downfield from Nicholas Johnson, fluttering in the wind and falling woefully short.
Yeah, that's I don't know what the play number is called, but I think it's go long, and I'm going to throw it to you. That's more or less what that was, which it's not a bad.
On third down and 17, sure. You really don't have much other option.
Correct, and if they intercept it, it's basically where you would field a punt. So I think that's the mindset.
It's an arm
there.
punt, yeah, no doubt. 6:06 on the clock here, second quarter, 14-7, Bishop Lynch in front. And now Bishop Dunne's defense needs to make a play and keep them in touch. Right now it's still very much a football game. Still anything can happen at this point. That snap was forced the punter to backtrack Munoz and eventually did get the punt off. It bounds over midfield and falls dead at the 44. Bishop Dunne's had enough issues with the snap to the punter this evening.
Sure, and they got that one done, and like we said, they're right at that part of the field where had that third down pass been intercepted. Of course, it wasn't. They'd be basically right there. So Bishop Lynch gets to work on flipping the field and potentially adding to their lead before we head into halftime.
5:56 to play, second quarter. We do appreciate you joining us here on Thursday Night Lights, a special Friday night edition as we take a quick 2-week swing through the TAP scene. Last week we were here for Bishop Lynch Parish Episcopal, and tonight the state championship rematch between Bishop Dunne and Bishop Lynch as Darius Boyd carries for 2 on the opening play of the drive. Again, we talk about this being a state championship rematch, and we talked about this off the top of the broadcast, David, but certainly two teams that are very different than the teams that played last December for a state title. Graduation ravaged both of these teams. Transfers made a big impact. A number of key players transferring out of these two respective programs to play at other schools around the area. As a result, only 7 starters back for each of these two teams combined, offense and defense. Darius Boyd, not one of those returning starters, but making plays this season for this Bishop Lynch offense, and he's got the first down out to the 40-yard line. He was actually last year at Parish Episcopal, transferred into Bishop Lynch this year, and already well over 1,000 yards and probably creeping up on 1,100 at this point after what he's probably, I bet you he's over 1,100 because he was only 42 yards shy coming into the night. The 2 touchdown runs alone would put him over 1,100 for the year. He's had a very nice season for Bishop Lynch at that running back position. This snap right through the hands of Ritter, and he's smart to dive on top of it.
Yeah, obviously that'll back him up, here on second down. I wanted to go back to that Darius Boyd run because, when you see a running back, obviously speed is important, but you can just tell the way Darius Boyd reads his blocks. I mean, that is a next level skill set that obviously would play into college and beyond, because he had that block in front of him, and then to be able to read it and just pursue and just have that speed, that was a very impressive run.
Boyd's prospects, he's getting some looks from D1 programs, SMU among them. Second down and 24. They're going to try and set up the screen to Darius Boyd, and it goes off his hands, incomplete.
I think if he would have had that where he could have caught it, and he had some room to run. Let's look at this replay here. Yeah, if you put this on his hands, he's got space.
The one player who really read it well was Jordan Crook, but he ended up getting blocked by one of the offensive linemen from Bishop Lynch. So there was definitely room for Boyd to chunk away at some of those 24 yards they need to gain. Instead, it falls incomplete, and it's 3rd down and 24.
I bet Boyd gets the ball here. What do you think?
You figure you got to go to the air, right? But they are going to hand it off to Boyd. Little delay. Well, they pick up about 2. In a lot of ways, what are you going to do with 3rd and 24? So maybe it's smart to play it safe, especially with a 14-7 lead.
And, and a sophomore quarterback, you want to make sure, confidence, morale stays high. And that is 3rd and 24. You don't have a real effective play for that. And your best offensive, threat is Darius Boyd. But they will punt.
Out comes Ritter to punt it away. Again, it's Brian Fleming. Goes by BJ. BJ Fleming back to receive the punt. This is probably the best punt of the day so far from Ritter. Fielded at the 11. And some running room here for Fleming. Out across the 20, across the 25. Still on his feet and a big hit right at the 30-yard line and knocked out of bounds. I believe that was Logan Monroe that came in and laid the wood. And that is Michael Johnson, I believe, trying to argue for a targeting penalty here. Take another look at where the contact was made. It did appear to be, at first glance, helmet to helmet. We'll get another look at it here. It is indeed number 10. They both kind of lowered their heads into that impact. So, who do you blame that on? Is that on the defensive player or is that on the offensive player? They both kind of did the same thing. Logan Monroe came in and laid the hit. Yeah,
we know Logan Monroe is got some. He's a big dude.
He's got some heft.
Yeah, he's a big. We saw it on that reception, and he. I don't want to be on the other end of a hit from him.
6'1", 235. Ball's on the deck. Fumbled and scrambling back on top of it is Nicholas Johnson yet again. We want to circle back to the fact that Simeon Evans is not on the football field right now to start this series either. Johnson in there, a quarterback, and some miscommunication on the handoff. Tried to hand it off to Grant Barksdale and ends up on the turf. And now it's 2nd down and 19.
Yeah, I think Bishop Dunne is, more or less has got to be in a survive to halftime mode here. Loss of 9 on that first down play. And they're going to stick with Nicholas Johnson as quarterback, more or less.
At this point, they really don't have an option.
Well,
that snap went through his hands, but flags before the play even began. Beg your pardon, they're going to say it's a timeout called by Bishop Dunne. That's their first timeout of this opening half.
Give them a chance to reset here.
I feel like they kind of need it right now. I feel like they're kind of teetering on that edge. They've made some mistakes, at various points throughout this opening half. 2 early on in this football game that led to Bishop Lynch touchdowns to build that early 14-0 lead. The last thing they want to do is make another that leads to an easy Bishop Lynch score. So take a moment, like you said, it's kind of survive till halftime right now mode. I think for Bishop Dunne, you hope to maybe see that Simeon Evans is healthy at that point and can come back and play. But at the very least, you want to get Alex Orji, your backup quarterback, who again is a very talented young man, out on the football field as he's able to come back from his targeting penalty a week ago. You'll see him play on the defensive side of the ball as well. Big number 10, 6'2", 215 pounds as a sophomore. We saw him a year ago. He played at Rockwall last year. His older brother also played at Rockwall, who's now at Vanderbilt, by the way. Very, very talented safety. Alex Orji, we've seen him play some at wide receiver this year for Bishop Dunne, but is primarily a safety, and they've asked him to just focus on playing safety and being the backup quarterback right now because they've got enough weapons in Nicholas Johnson and Houston Robinson on the outside that they don't need him to play wide receiver, but they may need him to play quarterback in the second half tonight. 2nd down run is probably the most effective play we've seen so far from Bishop Dunne since Evans left the field. Grant Barksdale picks up about 7 or 8, close to the original line of scrimmage, but it'll be 3rd down and about 12.
Yeah, and I think if you're Greg Price and the Friars, you got to think this is an opportunity to maybe not get more points defensively, but really put a tremendous amount of pressure on Bishop Dunne, force them into a mistake here with essentially a 3rd-string quarterback under center right now, and try to get some easy points heading into halftime.
Yeah, I love the decision to call timeout here and just force Bishop Dunne to make a play. 3rd and 29 is not what the actual situation is. The ball's on the 29-yard line. I think that's the confusion with the scoreboard operator at the moment. It'll be 3rd down and 12 from the 29-yard line when we come back out of this Bishop Lynch timeout. Again, Lynch's final timeout of the half, so they are out of timeouts in terms of whatever they can do if and when they do get the football back here with 2.5 to play. Need to make a stop here on 3rd down and 12. If it's a play where, if it's a running play or if it's a completion, obviously clock would continue to run, and maybe Bishop Dunne's able to work it down under 2 minutes or so when they give the ball back to Bishop Lynch. But, of course, you'd love, if you're Michael Johnson, to see a 1st down here on 3rd down and 12. So we'll see what they can do at a shotgun with Nicholas Johnson in there at quarterback. Johnson throws on the near side, completes it, but nowhere to go at all for Brian Fleming. Taken down, and that's a loss of a couple of yards, and it'll be 4th down and a mile.
Yeah, good stop there on 3rd down. Obviously, they were in the passing formation on 3rd down, just like they were on the last drive. This one, they at least had a completion, but that was a play that the Friars defense had sniffed out right away.
20 seconds on the play clock right now as it ticks under 2 minutes to play in the opening half. So if you're Bishop Dunne, looks like they're going to just let this play clock expire and maybe call timeout with about a second left on the play clock here in 4 seconds or so. And they do indeed. 1:41 on the clock. 4th down and 16 forthcoming for Dunne. And you'll see Adrian Munoz come out and punt the football away. Dylan Monsieur, the punt returner for Bishop Lynch. So 1:40. Figure once this play transpires, about $1:30 on the clock for Bishop Lynch, and we'll see how far they have to go in those 90 seconds without a timeout.
Sure, and I think that's what Bishop Dunne was doing there, is they know Bishop Lynch will get the ball back, but let's not maybe give them a whole lot of time, and they won't have too much time with 1:40 here to do something. Key here on 4th down, we've already seen this play out a couple times for the Falcons, is how clean will a snap be, for the punter to at least make it challenging for Bishop Lynch on this last drive that they have coming up likely here in the first half. Obviously, we had the muff punt right off on the first drive, and just some overall lack of cleanliness here on these special teams plays for Bishop Dunne. So we'll see how they convert this one.
Bishop Lynch has 2 kickers, Blaine Ritter and Fabian Gutierrez. I'm told that Ritter's got the bigger leg of the two, as the punt from Munoz is a low line drive that bounces across midfield. That was touched at the 44-yard line. That was not what Dunne would have preferred to do there, as that's going to take a couple of yards off of what would have been some natural roll. I talked with Munoz, or beg your pardon, with Fabian Gutierrez, the Bishop Lynch, one of the Bishop Lynch kickers. He and Blaine Ritter, who's the quarterback tonight and is also one of their kickers. I talked with Gutierrez before the game. He said he's comfortable about to 39 or 40. I'm told Ritter's got the bigger leg, but I was also told that he's maybe only about 35, maybe 40. So that sounds like they're probably in the similar general ballpark in terms of where they're comfortable from a field goal range perspective. That would mean they need to get to, let's say it's 40 is what they're comfortable trying. You got to get all the way to the 23-yard line in Bishop Dunne territory to set that up. 1:32 on the clock to make that happen, and Ritter's in shotgun. He'll hand off to Darius Boyd. Cut back and a lot of running room. Darius Boyd's got the corner. Boyd in a foot race. Chased down from behind, just barely inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, I think he's
Forget anything I said about trying to set up a field goal attempt. Darius Boyd nearly took it to the house.
they're in Darius Boyd range for sure. First and goal from the 2. And, I was going to say, Darius Boyd has the 2 touchdowns. He's been efficient. And we had that run I talked about. You tell how much of a skilled runner he is, but really breaking off that huge run. We just saw it. There it is.
Boyd chased down from behind. John Emanuel able to get to him just before he found pay dirt, but now 1st and goal from the 2. Ritter, straight eye, handoff, Boyd, dives. They're marking him short on the near side. Far side says touchdown. The near side head linesman marked him down short, and they're going to say he's just shy of the end zone, inside the 1-yard line. The far side official signaled touchdown, but the near side head linesman overruled him.
Well, I'm going to guess they're going to run the same play. What do you
You'd think so.
Yeah, I think they're going to run the Darius Boyd play.
2nd and goal. Boyd, now he's in. Touchdown, Darius Boyd for the 3rd time today.
Fantastic first half for Darius Boyd, 3 touchdowns. Have we added up his total yardage from the first half? I'd say we're probably in the 70 to 80 range at least.
I would think at least, and honestly, after that run here, he's got to be over 100 yards tonight.
North of 100, yeah, because that was a run of over 50, right? So yeah, he's that's a heck of a first half for Darius Boyd.
27 seconds to play here in the opening half, and it's 20-0 for the moment. Extra point from Gutierrez is up and through. 21-7, Bishop Lynch. What a first half from this Friars football team. A week ago on homecoming, to call a spade here, taken behind the woodshed by Parish Episcopal. 54-14 the score last week. Tonight, they have completely flipped the script. An outstanding first half performance. Darius Boyd certainly leading the charge, but they've done it on the defensive end, they've done it in special teams, and they've clearly done it in the running game. 21-7. They lead Bishop Dunne as they try to exact a little revenge for losing last year's Division I TAP state championship game.
Yeah, a superior ground game is going to always bode well in conditions that maybe are not completely ideal like they are tonight. But credit to Bishop Lynch's offensive line for creating the holes for Darius Boyd to run through. And what we just talked about was, from Bishop Dunne's perspective, trying to limit the amount of time that the Friars had to get a score, scoring drive here in the second half. That did not work. So Bishop Dunne here is left with under half a minute. I'm venture to say if this kickoff goes as expected, that Bishop Dunne will probably just move on to halftime.
It will be Bishop Dunne football to start the second half, which is an important detail in all of this.
Even more incentive to just keep it simple.
Absolutely. The kick from Gutierrez, short and on the near sideline, bounces up to B.J. Fleming. Cut back, and Fleming's got some running room down the near sideline, across the 30.
Yes,
cut back
sir.
Across the 40.
Yep.
B.J. Fleming's got something here in the final 20 seconds of the half. Fleming inside the 30, inside the 20. Fleming to the pylon. Touchdown, Bishop Dunne.
That was gorgeous, and you were right on it, Mike Leslie. That cutback at the beginning, that was it. Once that cutback was complete, the wall of blockers was there, and he took care of the rest. That was a fantastic cut. Yeah, right there, basically at the 20-yard line, he sees the end zone.
That cutback right there at the 40-yard line, and he left half of the coverage team in his dust right there. And at that point, it was just a foot race to the pylon, and nobody had the angle on him.
Yeah, he had a nice...
Schmidtke tried to get him. Dylan Monsieur, everybody's just did not have enough of an angle and enough speed to beat him to that pylon.
No, he had a Falcon motorcade. He had an escort into the end zone.
Indeed he did. And, I mean, that is a game-changing play, a momentum-changing play. This makes this an entirely different football game as we go into halftime.
You just got a touchdown late in the first half, late in the second quarter, with your quarterback, Simeon Evans, injured. We don't know the prognosis for him coming back in this game, and your backup quarterback not able to play until the second half, and they just got 7 points without even having to put their offense on the field. That's a huge special teams play.
Still waiting on the PAT here. It's unclear what the delay. I believe a timeout was called by Bishop Dunne after all of that. I don't know if they're considering going for 2 or just wanted to make sure things were situated before they came out and attempted the PAT.
Well, the pendulum can swing one way and back the other as it relates to special teams. Obviously, Bishop Dunne made a special teams mistake and then has more than made up for that with just a huge kickoff return to get them within 1 score.
It would appear they are going to go for 2 here, which strikes me as a bold decision without your starting or backup quarterback out on the football field. But here comes Nick Johnson in the offense to go for 2. And he throws over the middle, and they connect. 2-point conversion complete into the hands of John Emanuel, and it's 21-15 late here in the opening half.
Nice pass by Nicholas Johnson. Well-conceived play. Got the 2-point conversion. And that's something they obviously talked about in the huddle and decided let's go ahead and do that. And it worked, and they're within 6 as we approach halftime.
And again, they get the football to start half number 2. A huge, huge turn of events, all created by B.J. Fleming. The kickoff return for a touchdown to make this now 21-15 after the 2-point conversion. It's a completely different football game than what we thought it was 16 seconds worth of game time ago. 27 seconds left on the clock here, second quarter. Darius Boyd, after a 50-plus yard run down the near sideline to get inside the 2. 2 plays later, runs it in from inside a yard away. 21-7 Bishop Lynch, and everybody on this near side, the home stands, is feeling great. And B.J. Fleming flipped that on its ear in 16 seconds.
They're probably still feeling okay with a 6-point lead.
No doubt.
A lot of people have hot chocolate in their hands, too, so they probably feel even better.
We'll see if you're not going to do anything with a kickoff that goes out of bounds. That's twice now that we've seen Bishop Dunne do that. I'm not sure if it's intentional. Maybe they don't trust their own coverage team, and they just decide, hey, let's give them the football at the 35 and move on. But twice now they've kicked the football out of bounds. And with 11 seconds still on the clock, out comes the Bishop Lynch offense for perhaps one final play here in the first half.
Sure, an entertaining first half, obviously, that we've seen so far with the plays. I think both of us would like to know, and I'm sure those watching here at the stadium and those watching online would like to know, what's going on with Simeon Evans. We don't know the answer to that. I mean, it could add an unexpected, kind of storyline to this game to have potentially 3 quarterbacks for Bishop Dunne up here in one game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
not common.
No, it's not common.
Lynch is going to force him to kick it again here rather than taking the possession at the 35. Smart play considering there are only 11 seconds left. About the only real shot you've got at making something happen here is perhaps on the kickoff return. And Isaiah Schmidtke's going to try and do exactly that as he takes it across the 25 and swallowed up as he backtracked to the 22. 3 seconds on the clock here in the second quarter. So now we will see one final play here in the opening half. We will, by the way, bring you the halftime show from the bands from each of these respective schools. As I see the Bishop Lynch band down to our left, just behind where you see the huddle here, getting ready for their halftime show. We'll let you guys enjoy that in its entirety here in just a matter of moments. But first, one final snap in the opening half as Blaine Ritter's in shotgun. And flags before they can even get started.
False start. Going to back them up 5 here. And we've had several people on our live stream comment about will the halftime show be shown in its entirety. Of course, we're going to show the bands.
Yeah.
Because the hot rumor earlier, given our less than ideal weather, was that perhaps the bands wouldn't perform. And, we were kind of aghast at the concept. It was like, you must have the band at halftime. Like, you have to. What would fill the silence? So I'm glad that the marching bands will be out there. That's
especially for a 30-minute halftime. You got to have something to fill it.
Of course.
After the penalty, they're going to decide to just kneel on it, and Ritter does exactly that. So after one half of play, as you mentioned it, David, an exciting opening half of play, 21-15. Bishop Lynch leads Bishop Dunne, a much higher scoring opening half than certainly we saw a year ago in the state championship game. That was a 13-9 final. Tonight, despite the sloppiness, despite the rain, quite a bit more points so far in this football game, 36 in total, and a 21-15 Bishop Lynch lead, all, of course, behind primarily Darius Boyd.
Darius Boyd, that's kind of your first half story with those 3 touchdowns and over 100 yards rushing. And on the same side with Bishop Dunne, what is going on, with Simeon Evans, him leaving the game in the second quarter, that will kind of be a plot line, I think, for the Falcons as they move forward into the second half. So highly entertaining first half. Looking forward to the second half.
21-15 the tally right now. Of course, the B.J. Fleming kickoff return for a touchdown really changes the tenor of this football game because, again, Dunne will have the ball to open up the second half. They won the toss but deferred at the start of this football game, giving Bishop Lynch the ball to start the game, so Dunne has it to start the second half. Fresh off of that touchdown on the kickoff return from B.J. Fleming and a 2-point conversion as Nicholas Johnson hit John Emanuel for the 2 points. 21-15 now our score, and a vastly different set of circumstances for Bishop Dunne as they get ready to come out of the halftime break, down just by 6. We'll see either Simeon Evans or Alex Orji likely in there at quarterback for Bishop Dunne when the second half gets underway. Of course, over the course of the next half an hour, we'll try to get word on what's happening with Simeon Evans. But for right now, enjoy halftime as we see the Bishop Dunne cheerleaders make their way out on the football field. We'll talk to you guys in about a half hour.
Thank you to Bridget Benson for coordinating all of the documents weekly meals on Fridays. Rosalind Leach for picking them up. Our sincere thanks to Monica Ariano for creating designs for the document water jugs, half zip world tops, frequency for bands and mums. We'd like to thank Tanya Franklin for awesome uniform hangers and hat covers. We are so appreciative of Gloria Nieto taking our beautiful photos, along with our Friday night photos and parent buttons. And a huge shout out to Sharon Washington for bringing the weekly spirit gifts for other dance teams each week. Finally, to all of the Falconet parents who give their support to their daughters, our organization, and to Bishop Dunne. Bishop Dunne is under the direction of Kelly Norman and managed by Elizabeth Queen. The Falconets will now perform their field songs to make you move.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 2019 Bishop Dunne Falcon Marching Band will be presenting their 2019 marching show, Be What Tomorrow Needs. The small but fierce band is featuring the music of alternative rock artists, the Foo Fighters, 9 Inch Nails, and My Chemical Romance. We open our show this year with the 2008 Grammy-winning chart by the Foo Fighters, The Pretender, from the 2000 album Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Endurance. Our performance tonight features junior trumpet soloist Miss Emily Rivera. Please welcome the 2019 Bishop Dunne Falcon Marching Band. Drum major Jaden Hall. Is the band ready? You may take the field in exhibition. is from the 2010 album Danger Day, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys by American rock band My Chemical Romance. Sing ranked #1 in the UK Rock Billboard, and it soared to #2 in the US Alternative Songs Billboard ranking. It was also the first song by My Chemical Romance to reach the adult contemporary stage. The message is strong and loud. Be what tomorrow needs. The Bishop Dunne Falcon Marching Band is under the direction of Daniel Harrelson and singing next. Drum major is Jason Hall, drill design, and drill captain is Aaron Neck.
Introducing the pride of Bishop Lynch, the 52nd time of the award-winning Bishop Lynch Brigade. Officers are Lieutenant Lindsay Herrera, Lieutenant Cindy Hinema, Captain Elena Norman, First Lieutenant Rose Lomenka, Lieutenant Maggie Henderson. Our Star Sergeants are Reese Camila and Danny Walker. Brigade would like to recognize the White Citation Dancers of the Week, third-year senior, Kayla Layton. And fourth-year senior, Samantha Olivo. Brigade would also like to recognize our faculty member of the week, Mr. Chris Holt. Brigade will be performing their jazz routine to Lips Are Moving. At this time, Brigade class presents the 52nd line senior class. Ladies and gentlemen, the Brigade senior class of 2020. The Brigade is under the direction of Allison Elliott and Carrie Schneider. Due to the conditions tonight, we will not be able to perform our usual halftime routine, but rather to honor our seniors, we will be playing the Bishop Lynch fight song one last time on the field at halftime in Rufino Stadium. You know the words, so free to clap and sing along. Ladies and gentlemen, the Spirit of the Owl, the 2019 Marching Choir Band.
A nice show from each of the two bands. You heard right there at the tail end that the Bishop Lynch band had one more opportunity to play the school's fight song, and on senior night here at Rufino Stadium, they have that opportunity one last time. Meanwhile, the football team trying to win one last time here at Rufino Stadium for the senior class, and they lead it 21-15 after one half of play. We're about 5 minutes away from the second half getting underway, so we'll take a look back at what we saw in that opening half. A very fast start for Bishop Lynch, thanks to a pair of big, frankly, miscues from Bishop Dunne in the early goings of this football game. The punt snap over the head of the punter. The effort from Adrian Munoz to punt the football away was impressive. He did all that he could, but punted it right into the leg of a Bishop Lynch defender that was right in front of him. That set up Bishop Lynch on the 29-yard line. A pair of offside penalties against Bishop Dunne followed that to set them up with 1st and 10 from the 19. And on the first actual play of that drive, Darius Boyd ran it into the end zone to give Lynch a 7-0 lead. Shortly thereafter, an interception by Isaiah Schmidtke, and Boyd ran it in from 23 yards out, and it was 14-0 in favor of Bishop Lynch just 5 minutes and 5 seconds into this football game tonight. Credit to Dunne, they did bounce back. Jordan Crook with the touchdown to make it 14-7 just a couple seconds into that second quarter. And then what we thought was going to be a 14-7 game at halftime, because it hung on 14-7 for quite a while. And then 2 touchdowns in the final minute of that opening half. Darius Boyd with a big run down the near sideline to set up a 1-yard touchdown for Boyd, his 3rd touchdown of the day to make it 21-7. And then the ensuing kickoff return for Bishop Dunne, B.J. Fleming, taking it to the house, 21-15 after the 2-point conversion, and that is where things stand right now after one half of play. Darius Boyd, though, certainly, David, the story of the first half. 14 carries, 132 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, an incredible first half for Darius Boyd, the senior, and I think we just kind of highlighted the two, the plot line for the first half, which was Darius Boyd, as you mentioned, with those 3 touchdowns, but also as we move into the second half, will Bishop Dunne's front 6 or 7 be able to contain in any way the rushing attack from Bishop Lynch, which has been obviously very strong with Darius Boyd leading the way. And secondly, on the offensive side of the ball for Bishop Dunne, who will be under center as we start the second half? I know you were kind of talking with some folks from Bishop Dunne to try to get a sense of what is going on with their signal caller.
Yeah, I walked down and I was able to find actually their head coach, Michael Johnson, as he made his way out of the locker room, and you see their team is making their way out on the field right now, just about 3 minutes until the second half kick. And Coach Johnson said that Simeon Evans, for one, is done for the night. He said it's a shoulder injury. They're not sure of the severity, but he did tell me that they had to go get it x-rayed, so that's, maybe not promising news, but they're at least hopeful that maybe there's not any displacement there, which is at least somewhat encouraging. But he is done for the night. Alex Orji will indeed be the quarterback to start the third quarter for Bishop Dunne, as his suspension from a targeting penalty a week ago has now expired. He's eligible to come on the field here in the second half, so you'll see number 10, the sophomore quarterback and also stud safety for this Bishop Dunne defense, come out on the field here in the second half. It'll be Orji instead of Simeon Evans.
And did you get a sense, because I know when after Evans left the field, we were kind of wondering, we didn't see a hit, we didn't see something that happened. Did you get a sense of when exactly this young man may have been injured?
Yeah, that was the one thing that they weren't entirely clear, and I don't think we were clear. When we saw him go down, neither of us noticed him take a big hit. What it was, or at least what they think happened, is that he got hurt earlier in the game, because he's been playing defense tonight as well, in part because of the suspension to Alex Orji for that first half. He was out on the field playing defense as well, playing some at safety. They think he may have injured it trying to make a tackle earlier in the football game. They said he'd been grimacing for a little while. It wasn't until, though, he tried to actually throw the football, the first pass of that ensuing drive, that was where he realized something's just not quite right, and went down in a clearly an awful lot of pain at that 7-yard line, and then walked off under his own power, but was certainly holding that right shoulder, and has left to get it x-rayed. And they hope that that there's nothing broken in there, and if that's the case, maybe perhaps he's able to come back and play next week. If there were a breakup there, certainly that's a more long-term injury, something that could theoretically end his season. You hope that that's not the case for a young man, that he's only a junior, so you would have another year left to come back next season and be the quarterback for this football team once again. But
hopefully, good
all
news
of that
for
said,
Simeon
yeah,
Evans.
all of that good thoughts to Simeon Evans, and hopefully he's okay long term. But he is done for this evening, and you will see Alex Orji come out on the field and play quarterback for Bishop Dunne.
Very good. Well, and I think, kind of transitioning now to the second half, and almost like a big picture perspective for these two teams. You talk about TAPS playoffs. Everyone on the Division I level is going to find a spot. It's where you're seated. It's where you have to go play. Obviously, these two coaches want to win this game. They're just looking at the next 24 minutes.
Right.
But that's got to be in the back of their mind, too, is, they haven't had the season that they would hope for after, these two teams playing in the state championship last year in Waco.
Right.
That said, the way that tournament is set up, they know just getting in, because they're going to get in,
right,
where they're slotted, teams have gone deep, have made deep runs in the playoffs, just based on where they're seated. So you don't have to go in 10-0. I mean, we've seen TAPS teams that go in 2-8, and if they just find the right gel at the right time, they can make a run. So
100%. In this, especially in this division, with as deep as it is, especially in this district, you kind of go through the gauntlet in TAPS Division I District 2, playing against Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne, playing against John Paul II, who this year is finally, a good football team, won last week against this Bishop Dunne football team for the first time in district since 2009, which maybe that's the best illustration of just how talented this district is, that for lack of a better way to put it, the little brother in the district for a long time, JP2, wasn't able to win a game in district for a decade because the other 4 teams were really, really good year in and year out. You go through the gauntlet, so if you can make it through this district, you can probably go pretty deep in the TAPS Division I playoffs, and both of these teams are trying to be playing good football at the right time, and they're hoping to start that tonight.
Sure, and the second half will reveal which one of these programs are going to get their first district win and get themselves set up for the last week or two of the season here.
So it's 21-15 after one half of play, and Bishop Dunne will have the football first as the kickoff is a short one, fielded and bobbled at the 25-yard line. Jumping on top of it at the 16 is Titus Evans. That's actually Simeon Evans' little brother, by the way. Falling on it at the they'll call it the 17-yard line is where they mark it, and 2 seconds into quarter number 3, here comes Alex Orji for the first time playing quarterback for this Bishop Dunne offense, replacing the injured Simeon Evans.
Yeah, and I think you can see on the broadcast that it kind of has that looks a little foggy. It's not foggy, but there's a pretty significant miss. I think of that kickoff fielding there was not clean. It's not pouring down rain. It's not even really raining per se, but it's a pretty strong mist, and you got to believe that that's playing a somewhat of a role in the overall conditions. So we'll see if this picks up as the night goes on, if it gets a little dicier, even more so than we saw in the first half.
Bishop Lynch is going to kick off again here. I apologize, I missed exactly what happened there that's necessitating the re-kick.
Offside.
An offside on the kickoff, so they're going to re-kick now from the 35. Once again, it is Fabian Gutierrez to kick it away. This one a very short kick. John Emanuel is going to field it and just fall down at the 43-yard line. So all of that leads to a 26-yard difference in field position from the 17 to the 43. So Bishop Dunne certainly the beneficiaries of that. First of all, the penalty, but then also a oddly short kick, perhaps trying to maybe catch Bishop Dunne napping. They don't do so, and now the Falcons with very good field position.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Bishop Dunne, coming out with their third quarterback of this game, as you mentioned, at the start of the second half here with Alex Orji under center. Couldn't play for, well, you know what? I don't know that he is under center, is he?
He's in shotgun.
He is in shotgun.
That's number 10 there in the backfield and standing at his own 36-yard line.
Okay.
6'2", 215-pound sophomore, and he's going to keep it himself on this first play, and he's got a little bit of running room out across the 45 to the 47. Pickup of about 5.
Pretty solid first play of the first half there for the Falcons as they look to, get on the board here with the first score of the second half. When you think about how their first drive in the first half ended, probably very important for them to make a strong statement here. And, they're a score away from tying and taking the lead here in this ballgame. The game, for the most part, I think time of possession and overall, I think Bishop Lynch has been in control.
Barksdale with the handoff. He's got a first down as he spins his way across the 45 to the 42. I would agree. Bishop Lynch has been in control of this football game, David, basically from the jump. Of course, the 2 early miscues by Bishop Dunne that led to that 14-point lead factored heavily in that, gave Bishop Lynch short fields on consecutive possessions that led to the 19-yard Darius Boyd touchdown run and the 23-yard Darius Boyd touchdown run to make it 14-0 there just 5 minutes and 5 seconds into this football game. And they've been in control really ever since. Now here early on in the third quarter, an opportunity for Bishop Dunne to change that. Handoff goes to Pearson Hendricks. He's taken down right at the line of scrimmage. Nice job to get into the backfield by Bishop Lynch's Thomas Loebmeyer. Backup defensive end to Caleb Williams, knifing across to make the play.
Yeah, nice tackle there. Gain of 1 on first down. So second along here for Bishop Dunne, and I can see that young man who was carrying the ball for Bishop Dunne is definitely has limped off the field. So we'll have to check on how Pearson Hendricks is doing, but he was definitely favoring one of his legs there on his way out.
And that sets up second down and 9. Little pistol formation here. Orji, pressure in his face, spins away from Aiden Howard momentarily. Did he get the ball off? No, they're going to say he was down in the backfield. Aiden Howard limping his way away from the play, but the big, talented defensive end making the sack. He's now got 6 on the year.
Yeah, that was obviously a just ran right through the line there. Looked like he threw it before
I thought
his
he
knees
got
down.
it off, yeah.
Could have been, I don't know if they roll in the grasp in taps, but certainly close.
Yeah, like the Deshaun Watson play from last week. Took a touchdown off the board for the Houston Texans. Third down now and 20. They have to get all the way to the 32-yard line on Bishop Lynch's side of the field to pick up a first down. 4 wide receiver set. And now a delay of game will only make this more challenging. 3rd and 25 for Bishop Dunne.
Well, hasn't been quite as productive in the last 2 plays here after a pretty solid first down play. So, yeah, Bishop Dunne in an unfavorable 3rd and a whole lot. In this case, 25.
3rd and 25 from their own 42. The original line of scrimmage was the 42 on Bishop Lynch's side of the field. Orji, 4 wide receiver set. Pressure in his face, rolls to the right, heaves it downfield, and should have been intercepted. Justin Bell had a great chance at it and let it go through his hands, kind of overran the football, and it falls harmlessly incomplete.
Yeah, he had a lot of momentum behind him, almost like a center fielder who's getting ready to throw somebody out at home. And maybe he was thinking about, I'm in full stride here. I grab this ball. I've got a lot of place to work with, and just ended up an incomplete pass. But again, it gets back in that kind of territory of if he intercepts it. Of course, he had momentum, but if he intercepts it, you're kind of in the range where they field a punt. But we'll see how this goes.
Line drive, spiraling punt. Checks up just inside the 30-yard line and is downed right there. So Bishop Lynch with a stop on the opening possession for Bishop Dunne, and out comes Blaine Ritter and company with this 21-15 lead just under 3 minutes into quarter number 3.
Yeah, I imagine at this point, if you're Bishop Lynch, starting the second half, you want to have a strong answer to get this thing going. I'm sure Greg Price, you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. I think we'll see some Darius Boyd.
Quite a bit of Darius Boyd, I would think, is the prescription here in half number 2. 14 carries, 132 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the opening half. And play number 1 is indeed a handoff to big number 24 as he bowls his way into the line and picks up about 4.5.
Yeah, what a great first half. I know we talked about it to start the second half, but just an enjoyable runner to watch. I mean, just really great first half for Darius Boyd, obviously with those 132 yards and tacking on a few more. And he's got 3 touchdowns, and we'll see how the the second half continues.
132 put him just 10 yards shy of 1,200 for the season. Now 6 yards shy of that mark after that first down carry. This time they handed off up the middle, and fighting for yards is Logan Monroe. Got all the way out to the 38-yard line, close to the first down marker. It'll be about a yard shy, and it'll be 3rd down and 1. We do appreciate you joining us here on the WFA Digital Network, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and WFA.com. Mike Leslie and David Goins here with you for a state championship game rematch between Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne. These two teams played for a TAPS Division I state title a year ago. Dunne won that football game 13-9. Lynch, though, with this 21-15 lead off the hard count. Ritter with the handoff to Boyd and swallowed up in the backfield. Did he get the first down? They're going to mark him just beyond the sticks. He did indeed get enough for the first down, but the Dunne defense was on top of him very quickly in the backfield on him. Well, it was Jeremiah Bodwin making the play.
Sure, and obviously 3rd and 1, everyone knew what was coming there. They got just enough to advance the sticks and keep this drive going.
So a fresh set of downs at their own 40. Ritter will be under center in a straight I dotted by Darius Boyd. 2 wides to the top side of the formation, and now a flag and a false start will go against Bishop Lynch.
Kind of wondering if Logan Monroe fills up the Gatorade bottles too, because I mean, he's gotten a handoff, he's caught a pass, had a big hit on the sidelines. He can kind of do a little bit of everything for Bishop Lynch. So that offsides will back him up 5 yards. Was it false start or now offsides?
It was a false start.
It was
false start to make it 1st and 15. And once again, the handoff to Boyd, and this time nowhere for him to go. John Emanuel leading the charge.
I think it might be Wildcat time.
Wildcat time on 2nd down and a mile.
Sure. Yeah,
More flags after the play here. Some clapping from the Bishop Lynch offensive line. That's Liam Brace, their big center. Joe Greer, our referee this evening, sorting things out. The personal foul against the Bishop Dunne defense. So after Bishop Lynch had gone backward with both the false start and the negative run on 1st and 15, all of that erased, and it's 1st and 10 across midfield. Ritter under center. Boyd, as usual, behind him, and he gets the toss and meets right in front of him. Brennan Scott fights through that a little bit to get maybe a yard on the play.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen Darius Boyd meet up there with Scott on a tackle, kind of the 2-star player, our players to watch, if you will.
Yes, indeed.
Kind of interacting on the field. And
no surprise when you see the stud running back and 4-star linebacker meeting out on the football field. They'll do that, I'm sure, quite a few more times over the course of the evening. Of course, the 4th and 2 stop, the one that you're thinking of from earlier in the football game, was a very big play. Now in a little misdirection, they hand it off to Schmidtke, and what a nice defensive play to come across and knife him down, but he stays on his feet. How did he stay on his feet through that tackle and manage to get across the 45 to the 43? See if we can get another look at this. You see a defender come knifing across and take him down, I thought, but his knee never went down. Isaiah Schmidtke, nice job to stay on his feet through the attempt at a tackle from Kendall Newsom. Newsom, I thought, made a sensational play, read the play despite the misdirection, was there at the point of attack and took him down, I thought, for what would have been maybe a gain of a yard. Nice job by Schmidtke to stay on his feet and keep moving. So now 3rd down and short, and they're going to go play action. Ritter rolling near side, and nowhere for him to go. Taken down, flag flies in at the end of the play.
I mean, a 15-yard penalty probably for horse collar. I think is that exactly what it's called. But
coming through to make the sack was Kevin Washington.
Or contact above the neck, perhaps. Something along those lines.
Officiating crew still sorting things out, and apparently it's going to be against Bishop Lynch because the Bishop Dunne coaching staff is saying they're going to decline the penalty.
Oh.
It is indeed against Bishop Lynch. Penalty declined, and that'll make it 4th down and about 8 after the sack, and now Bishop Lynch will have to decide whether or not they want to punt the football away in plus territory. Indeed they will. Blaine Ritter, the quarterback, drops back into punt formation, and they'll send it away, as is the usual for Bishop Dunne. B.J. Fleming back to return. Fleming, of course, had the kickoff return for a touchdown late in the first half. We'll see what he can do on this punt return. Bounces in front of him and thinks better of picking it up, and it's going to roll all the way inside the 5-yard line. Blaine Ritter pinning him deep. Fleming had a couple of opportunities there, David, to perhaps decide to field the football.
Yeah,
ultimately thought better of it. And
coach will probably talk to him a little bit about where and when you field punts, and probably out of 10 punts, you pick that up at 9 times.
I can certainly understand the school of thought of, for the Bishop Dunne coaching staff. They say, listen, if you're unsure, smart play to stay away, and it looked like he was unsure of where that ball was going to bounce, and ultimately decided to let it roll, but it does end up putting them in a negative situation here at their own 4-yard.
And it kind of had the look on that first bounce that it would maybe bounce in the end zone, and you're thinking, okay, we'll get it at the 20. But, that's how it went.
So back comes Alex Orgy, the backup quarterback in this Bishop Dunne offense. Standing in his own end zone is the sophomore Orgy. Hands off to, I believe that was Greg Lane, beg your pardon, Barksdale with the handoff. And
33, yep.
Nowhere for him to go, perhaps lost a yard. It'll be 2nd down and long. Under 5 to play here, 3rd quarter. Bishop Dunne and Bishop Lynch in a good one here on a special Friday night edition of Thursday Night Lights. If you're joining us late, Alex Orgy in there at quarterback because Simeon Evans, their starter, the junior that was a big part of that state championship team for Bishop Dunne a year ago, hurt in the first half. He is indeed done for the day, getting x-rays on his right shoulder, and now whistles before the snap, and it looks like this will be a false start against Bishop Lynch, beg your pardon, Bishop Dunne, and that'll make it half the distance to the goal, if that is indeed the call. Apparently it's not quite as cut and dry as I initially thought, as the officials continue to discuss.
Yeah, there's not a lot dry down there at all tonight.
Indeed it is a false start against this Bishop Dunne offense. So that'll turn 2nd and 11 into about 2nd and 13.
Yeah, I mean, conservatively, we can at least say that Simeon Evans' lack of presence on the field is definitely having an impact for Bishop Dunne right now.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, he is literally the only starter remaining from on the offensive side of the football from last year's Bishop Dunne State Championship team. And he is a big, big part of their offense. Done for the game, though, now. Orgy in his own end zone, dropping back, throws over the middle, right over the head of his intended target, and incomplete. Trying to find Jordan Crook on a little pop pass there, and instead it's going to be 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, 3rd and long here. A dangerous part of the field. We talked about this in the first half when Simeon Evans was still on the field, and they converted a big 3rd and 13 on the opposite side of the field. This is obviously it's a passing down, but a lot of risk here. 2 yards away from your end zone.
With a sophomore quarterback who's played very few snaps at the position so far this year for Bishop Dunne, a dicey situation on 3rd and 12, standing in his own end zone. Pressure off the right edge. Escapes out. Still trying to escape. Gets around Aiden Howard. Fires deep downfield. He's got a man. It's tipped and incomplete.
As incomplete passes go, that was pretty entertaining.
I will say this. As much as he's a backup quarterback, he's not played the position a lot this year. He is an athlete as much as anybody out on that football field right now. This is a kid that's going to go play high-level college football in a few years. Still just a sophomore, still figuring out whether that's going to be at the safety position, at the quarterback position, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of time for him to figure that out, but he's an exceptional athlete and can do a lot of things on the football field. You saw a little taste of that right there.
Sure, and as that play developed, you kind of sense of maybe it's a safety, maybe it'll be a fumble for a touchdown for Bishop Lynch, and he throws it like it could be a first down. There was like 5 scenarios that played out like in 5 seconds, so that was it was just an incomplete pass, but it was fun to watch. Yep.
And now a delay of game against the Bishop Dunne punt team.
The punter's like, come on, man, I'm already standing at the back of the end zone. Can't get much more snug here. I'll be standing on Ferguson.
Adrian Munoz is already without any space to work with, and it just got smaller. We'll see whether or not Bishop Lynch elects to come after this punt. Dylan Monsieur standing at the 30-yard line, waiting to receive. They do get the punt away.
He was out.
Did he step out of the back of the end zone? Yes, he did. It's a safety.
Yeah,
Adrian Munoz steps on the end line, out of bounds, and 2 points go on the board for Bishop Lynch.
I mean, just a really difficult. We talked about it just before it happened, how difficult the position that punter was in, and he landed, because that snap was a little high, and he landed on the back end line, and a free 2 points.
Credit to Joe Greer, the referee this evening, the crew chief, right on it and staring directly at that end line as Adrian Munoz set his heels on it, and that gives 2 points to Bishop Lynch. I'll say this, though. That might have been beneficial for Bishop Dunne.
Talk to me more about that.
Given where Bishop Lynch was going to have the football, at probably the 25-yard line maybe, and that was if Dylan Monsieur didn't return the punt at all.
So
the likelihood of 6 points there is pretty high.
Okay, so theoretically a better field defensively if you're Bishop Dunne to make a stop and keep a one-possession game still a one-possession game.
Yeah. Theoretically. I mean, now it's incumbent, of course, on the Bishop Dunne defense to make a stop and make any of that stand up.
Sure.
If you can't make a stop here, none of that matters. But instead of punting from the very back of your own end zone, now you kick off from your own 20. You can at least set Bishop Lynch back a little further and force Darius Boyd and company to go a little farther to find the end zone. Kickoff goes out of bounds after all of that. The official marks it at the 43-yard line. It will still be very good field position for Bishop Lynch, just not quite the plus 23 or whatever it would have.
Right, and we're going to get our favorite play, which we've already seen a couple times tonight, the re-kick.
The re-kick indeed. Now from the 15. If there's one thing we can say about this football game, Bishop Dunne has made their lives more difficult with penalties, with turnovers, with generally sloppy play. On a night like this, that's to be expected.
Right.
In some ways, that's to be excused. But it's certainly, I'm sure, frustrating for head coach Michael Johnson.
Sure, it's challenging. That's all you can say about it. So far, it's been a challenging night, special teams wise. But of course, they had that touchdown, so that was a big play.
This kickoff, skirting along that edge, just barely went out of bounds. Isaiah Schmidtke was watching it every bounce to see whether or not it would go out of bounds, and you wonder, will they make them re-kick again? It's up to this Bishop Lynch coaching staff what they want to do, and it looks like they will indeed force them to kick off again, now from their own 10-yard line.
Oh, man. The three-peat of kickoffs.
This is not a common occurrence, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
If you're not a big high school football fan, if you're not a big football fan in general, you don't happen to watch a lot of – this is not commonplace.
No, this has got to be frustrating for Bishop Dunne at this point to have 3 kickoffs and right after a safety on a punt attempt, which was preceded by a delay of game penalty when you're about to punt.
Mm-hmm.
But
here comes the kickoff once again. This one bounces off the foot of the up back, fielded at the 40-yard line, and it's going to be really good field position for Bishop Lynch as down inside the 37 comes Matthew Moore.
It was the Swiss.
Beg your pardon, the 33.
We talked about this before. This is the Swiss Army knife of Bishop Lynch. Logan Monroe right off his foot. He has run the ball once. He has caught a pass. He's laid out some big hits, and his foot came in real handy there for the Friars. So, he's not going to show up on stat sheets, but he's had himself a pretty productive game so far.
6'1", 235-pound junior wearing number 10. Does most of his damage on the defensive side of the ball, but you're right, offensively and in special teams tonight, he's made an impact, and he's the up back in the I formation right now in front of Darius Boyd, who got a little bit of a head start there on 1st and 10, leaning forward, and he gets whistled for the false start.
Does Logan also mow the practice fields? He's doing a little bit of everything.
1st and 15 after the false start on Darius Boyd. It's about the only thing Darius Boyd hasn't done right tonight, though, so I think he's excused with the one mistake. It is once again Monroe in the I formation along with Darius Boyd, and that's who will get the handoff. Surprise, surprise, on 1st and 15. Nowhere for him to go. Maybe picked up about a yard. Again, if you're watching on Facebook Live, let us know in the comments. Same thing, YouTube Live as well. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from, who you're tuning in to watch this evening as we enjoy this state title rematch between Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne. Dunne won that football game last December 13-9 to claim the TAPS Division I state championship just 2 years after Lynch won a state title against Bishop Dunne back in 2016. So that was Dunne's opportunity for revenge, and now Bishop Lynch trying to exact a little revenge as there it is, David Goins' favorite player on the football field, Logan Monroe, with the catch, and he gets it out to the 30-yard line, and that'll make 3rd down a little more manageable here.
And manageable, and that's what Logan Monroe is going to do for you. And you say he's my favorite player. We know it goes beyond that. There's folks in the stands here are probably feeling the same way. I doubt I'm the only one who's thinking.
Oh, I'm sure. If you happen to be watching right now on Facebook and Logan Monroe is also your favorite player, let us know. 3rd down and 7. Again, I formation behind Ritter. Play action fake to Boyd. Looking on the left-hand side, he's got a man over there but overshoots Matt McLaughlin. And it will be 4th and 7.
Again,
certainly outside of field goal range here. It would be a 48-yard attempt. Beg your pardon, a penalty against Bishop Lynch is going to make all of this a little more complicated, although Dunne will decline it. So it will stay 4th down and 7 from the 30.
So I guess the question at this point is, Blaine Ritter going to run a 4th down play, or will he try to pin them deep here on 4th and 7?
Ritter is the kicker and punter for Bishop Lynch, in addition to being their backup quarterback, forced into service tonight by the injury to the starter, Michael Light. So a quick kick here is entirely possible. Another flag comes in here before the play. The line judge, Kevin Knowles, pointing to the near Bishop Lynch sideline.
We guess, too many.
He's counting players.
Yep, that's what I was going to.
He's counting players, and he's looking at Blaine Ritter with palms to the sky like, I don't know what you want me to do. You got 12 guys. Still Joe Greer trying to sort things out. They're going to wave the flag off. So after all of that, there is no penalty for illegal substitution, and it will remain 4th down and 7. At the 30-yard line, I kind of wonder if there's any purpose to a quick kick, because you've already,
no, I agree.
If Bishop Dunne gets the football at the 30, that no real harm in that. So
if it's out of field goal range, it's definitely a go for it on 4th and 7, and that's what they're going to do.
Weston Walls coming in motion there across the formation to the near right-hand side to put 3 wide receivers on that side. They're going to throw that way, and it's Darius Boyd with a lot of running room. Boyd with the 1st down and then some inside the 20. A very well-designed and well-executed screen to the running back, and they convert on 4th and 7.
Won't get a lot of credit, but the offensive line completely bottled up Brennan Scott on a linebacker blitz on 4th down, and there was just a big opening there for Darius Boyd to pick up that 1st down. But nice pickup by Bishop Lynch's offensive line to stop that blitz from Bishop Dunne.
And now Bishop Dunne's defense is in a a difficult situation here. They need to make a stop. They're already down 8 points. You don't want to fall into a 2-touchdown hole here. You got to make a stop, and they're already inside the 20-yard line. Handoff goes to Darius Boyd. He's got a hole and an awful lot more. Darius Boyd dragged down from behind, but not before he gets inside the 10. It's 1st and goal, Friars.
Yep, I mean, that has been the offense for Bishop Lynch tonight. If you're just tuning in to our broadcast, that has been the story. Darius Boyd, the senior tailback for Bishop Lynch, well over 150, 160 yards at this point, and looking for a 4th touchdown potentially.
$1:20 and moving here, 3rd quarter, 23-15. Bishop Lynch on top and looking to add to it. Boyd dots the I, gets the hand, the ball's on the deck. Ritter just barely able to scramble on top of it. Kevin Washington falling on him to end the play.
That would have been a huge turnover, obviously, for Bishop Dunne, because as you just pointed out, they go down 2 scores. The offense has only generated 1 score. This doesn't, at least right now, we'll see how the 4th quarter progresses, but it doesn't. We haven't seen any indication that this is an offense that can get multiple touchdowns tonight, given the weather conditions and given the fact they have a backup sophomore quarterback. So big defensive stand here for the Falcons potentially.
2nd and goal from the 11 after the miscue. Handoff goes to Boyd on misdirection, and Boyd's got the corner. Darius Boyd, flag flies in. Darius Boyd into the end zone, but it looks like it's all coming back, and now more flags after the play. Several officials running in to break up a little extracurriculars after the play. Let's see if we can get a look at what the penalty may have been. It looked like a hold. Jordan Crook got spun around as Darius Boyd got the corner, and then a little extracurriculars you saw with the blocking right at the goal line. So a lot for Joe Greer to sort out here. Officials pointing in every possible direction right now. You got the whole crew on the screen right now. That is the story of the moment, is the officiating crew. Joe Greer, Ricky Upshaw, Andrew Jewell, Kevin Knowles, Derek Tankersley, Jeremy Hennickson, and Michael Kraft, your crew this evening, and it appears they may finally have this all sorted out. 2 penalties on the play. As we expected, holding against the offense. 10-yard penalty for that, and then a dead ball unsportsmanlike penalty against Bishop Dunne, number 12 of the defense. That's Jamal Jordan, the starting cornerback. So after all of that, it will be a free 1st down for Bishop Lynch. Have they decided where the football will be? It will be at the 11. And after all of that, what was a goal-to-go situation now becomes 1st and 10 from the 11 as it becomes a fresh set of downs, and they mark it at the 11-yard line.
Yeah, you commit a holding penalty and get a 1st down out of it. That's a pretty good result for Bishop Lynch. I didn't know if this was going to be one of those offsetting penalties, which is like my favorite part of football rules, is where somebody makes a mistake, the other team makes a mistake, let's just call it even and do it again. Like I feel like that concept needs to be applied to more things generally in life. Like let's just do it over.
Once again, Joe Greer explaining, I think all that was, he was signaling again that wasn't a fresh unsportsmanlike penalty against Bishop Dunne. I think he was just reiterating to the crowd, okay, this is what's happened. It is a fresh set of downs, 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Finally, the bookkeeping is done, and we can get back to football. Blaine Ritter will be under center as per usual. And it's Darius Boyd in the I formation behind him. Aiden Howard going in motion across the formation, and Boyd gets the handoff and hits a wall. And that wall was Brendan Scott, as is normally the case.
Yes, sir. You could see the pink tape on the shoes from here. And then Darius Boyd moving the opposite direction. So, yes, that was a nice tackle there for the Falcons.
Give them about a yard, maybe yard and a half, and they'll call it 2nd down and 9. And when we play that 2nd down and 9, it will be the 4th quarter. 23-15, Bishop Lynch with a lead over their rival Bishop Dunne in a rematch of last year's TAPS Division I state championship game. I mean, if you're not enjoying yourself, what are you doing? Come back for the fourth quarter. We're having some fun here at Rufino Stadium.
Attention all kindergarten to 8th grade students, we want you to join Club Pride, our free exclusive program. It provides members to attend Bishop Lynch events and activities.
While we're in this break between the third and fourth quarter, we do want to let you know where we'll be a week from now. As a matter of fact, a week from Thursday, as Thursday Night Lights will indeed get back to being a truism. Thursday Night Lights. Next week, we've got South Oak Cliff and Kimball squaring off Thursday night, 7 o'clock on the WFA Digital Network. Two teams that are among the best in 5A. Certainly South Oak Cliff, a team that is ranked in North Texas in 5A. Kimball, a team that's been, frankly, a little bit of a surprise this year and started off very, very well in district play. And those two teams will square off as they try and settle out who's going to be a playoff team out of what is a very good district that's being led right now by Red Oak, but South Oak Cliff trying to chase them down, hoping that somebody will beat Red Oak so that they can chase them down and perhaps win that district. Kimball kind of in a similar vein, trying to chase down a very talented Red Oak team, but that is where we will be 1 week from yesterday. Thursday Night Lights back to being a Thursday night affair as we will bring you South Oak Cliff and Kimball on October 31st. Back to the action here on play number 1 of quarter number 4. 2nd down and 9 for Blaine Ritter and company. Again, it's Aiden Howard in motion across the formation, and the handoff goes to Darius Boyd. Spins through one tackle and gets to the 5.
Well, this is one of those nice spots on the field where if you're Bishop Lynch, you're looking at a 3rd down coming up here, but it's a 3rd down that you can convert and get another conversion. Because they can get a 1st down if they get to the 1 yard line. So they've got a couple plays here to get to the 1 yard line and then perhaps get a fresh set of downs.
3rd down and calling it 4. It looks like an awful lot more than 4 to me. Handoff goes to Boyd. He's got a lead blocker out there. Can he get to the end zone? Yes, he does. Darius Boyd, touchdown number 4 of the day.
Yep, followed his blockers right in. Another fantastic run for Darius Boyd, who is having the type of game that you would think would put the Friars in a pretty good position to win their first district game this year. And they're an extra point away from going up, doubling up Bishop Dunne.
Fabian Gutierrez out for the extra point that would make it 30-15 here, just 47 seconds into quarter number 4. And the PAT is no good, wide to the right, so it'll stay 29-15, and that's an important point right there because it remains a 14-point game. So theoretically, Bishop Dunne, if they're able to make a comeback here, would not need to go for 2 in order to tie this football game up at 29. 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points, and it's a tie football game. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, this is a team playing without their starting quarterback that has only mustered 1 offensive touchdown tonight. That's a lot to ask, but again, this is a football team that expected to win this football game tonight. They need to make some things happen over the course of the final 11-13 to make that happen.
And the other touchdown for Bishop Dunne is on the field right now, which was special teams. They returned that kickoff and converted a 2-point conversion. So while they wouldn't necessarily need 2-point conversions in this game, it would not be shocking to see them go for it, especially if for no other reason, Mike, to avoid 11 overtime game. You know, if it gets to 29-28, what do you think the coach is going to do? I think he's going to go for 2.
If any team across the state has got experience going for 2, it's Bishop Dunne and John Paul II for that matter as well. If you're unaware, those 2 teams played an 11 overtime marathon a week ago. JP2 won that game 39-37. Under the new rules at both the collegiate level and the high school level, you go for 2 starting with the 5th overtime, only for 2. As it used to be, you'd go for 2 after you score a touchdown, starting in the 3rd overtime as that kickoff goes out of bounds. We've seen a lot of kickoffs out of bounds tonight for whatever reason. I mean, at the moment, it is not raining. The field may be still a little wet. It may be a little sloppy down there, but you wouldn't think that would affect the kicking game so much. It's certainly not a kickoff. Maybe an extra point, a field goal, certainly. The kickoff, you wouldn't expect a whole lot of impact on that. But for whatever reason, several kickoffs out of bounds over the course of this football game. And that's going to give Bishop Dunne very good field position to start what is a very crucial drive for them. Finally, a signal from Joe Greer. And instead of forcing Bishop Lynch to re-kick, Bishop Dunne will take the penalty and just take the football.
Well, this will be the beginning of a pretty big drive, offensive drive for Bishop Dunne, because if they're going to have a chance to tie this game or take the lead or however you want to do it, 2 more conversions, realistically with, yes, a full quarter, but they're going to need to score on this possession. They can't assume that they're going to get 2 more offensive possessions in this game where they stand right now.
Alex Orji in there at quarterback. Grant Barksdale, the back in the backfield with him, and they're going to run play action and swallowed up, really just kind of pushed down by Aiden Howard is Alex Orji. Lost his balance a little bit off the play action fake, and Howard didn't have to do much. Just kind of tapped him, and down he went.
Yeah, you saw, lost his balance, and that play was gobbled up for a big loss.
We've seen this now multiple times with Bishop Dunne ever since Simeon Evans left the field. He left in the second quarter. Again, if you're late in joining us, injured his right shoulder and is out for the night.
I thought that was a sack, but I guess...
Orji looking deep down the left side. He's got a man, and instead it's intercepted. Dylan Monsieur cutting across to make the play, but he put the ball on the deck, and Bishop Dunne jumps on top of it.
Apropos.
Nicholas Johnson grabbing the loose football. Dylan Monsieur soaring over the top for the interception, but he leaves it on the deck, and Johnson, after all of that, it's a fresh first down for Bishop Dunne.
Yep, I think that kind of, in some ways, kind of encapsulates some of the, the zaniness of ball control. Of tonight. Yeah, for sure.
So it's 1st and 10 for Bishop Dunne at their own 38-yard line after all of that. 10:24 to play here, fourth quarter, and the handoff goes to Barksdale. Breaks a couple of tackles at the line of scrimmage and then drags a couple of tacklers out to the 44-yard line. Strong run from Barksdale, a pickup of 6 on first down.
Yeah, strong. Exactly what I was going to say. A strong run for Barksdale there to push the pile forward for a gain of 6. And Bishop Dunne is skating on some pretty thin ice in many facets of the game, but to be able to keep this drive alive with the clock ticking under 10 minutes here, down 2 scores, it's in front of him.
Alex Orji, the sophomore backup quarterback, takes the snap out of shotgun. Nice block by Barksdale to take down Aiden Howard. They throw in the near side, incomplete. Out of bounds and over the head of Titus Evans.
Yeah, it ended up being an incomplete pass, but as you pointed out, that to pick up that blitz was critical there for Dunne. So we'll see what they come up with here with third and short. See if they can convert.
Again, we mentioned it off the top of the broadcast, and we've talked about it over the course of the night after he left the football game. Simeon Evans, the junior starting quarterback for this football team, he is their offense. So without him, this Dunne football team is left wondering what is their identity. They're trying to figure that out on the fly here on 3rd down and 3. Handoff to Barksdale, and nowhere to go. Once again, the Bishop Dunne front there to cut him down. Caleb Ajakaye making the play, and it's 4th down and 3.
So what do you call here on 4th down? I mean, they're bringing out the punting unit.
Yeah, they're bringing out Adrian Munoz, the punter, and they're going to kick this ball away. 9:20 on the clock. They do have all 3 timeouts still remaining. Both teams do, in fact.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, yeah, they got the timeouts. Darius Boyd is on the other side of the field, and that's such an effective clock eater for Bishop Lynch. And you just wonder, will this Bishop Dunne team get 2 more offensive possessions to try to tie it up? We'll see.
Munoz with a line drive punt. Fielded dangerously by Dylan Monsieur, but he's able to get away with it. And he's got a lot of running room now as he breaks into the clear. Across midfield, he's to the 30. Dylan Monsieur inside the 20, stays on his feet down the sideline. Touchdown. Dylan Monsieur with a very dangerous decision to field that punt.
Beautiful
and
run.
it worked out beautifully for him.
Yeah, beautiful run. They may have a flag here for excessive celebration, but yeah, fantastic run there. We've seen two fantastic special teams play. First by Dunne, this one by Lynch on a punt.
I thought Kendall Newsome for sure was going to be able to knock him out of bounds. He had the angle. He was very clearly picking up speed and was going to get there to make the play, and just didn't apparently put enough on the hit. And Monsieur able to keep his balance, stay in bounds, and he finds the end zone. An arm around the referee from Isaac Chavez, one of the offensive linemen for Bishop Lynch, trying to explain to Joe Greer, like, listen, man, we're celebrating. It's a big play. And I understand it's hard to hate it.
Yeah. Can we editorialize? I mean, it doesn't seem like it. Why are they throwing penalty flags on that? Like, come on, man. It's high school football.
I mean, I may have missed something. I didn't see anything egregious in the celebration there.
There may have been a few players who left the sideline to go celebrate. But, come on. Come on. So now it kind of gets us in that same posture we were just talking about, a minute ago.
Yeah.
Three offensive possessions and eight and change. So yeah, it's a pretty steep hill to climb for Bishop Dunne.
You certainly understand if you're Michael Johnson trusting your defense as good as their defense is.
Right. Yep.
As the extra point is indeed up and through. Now a 21-point lead for Bishop Lynch, 36-15. They have one of the best defenses in the state on the private school scene.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes sense. You're thinking 3 and out and try again. You got time to do it. That punt return for Bishop Lynch very well may have put this one out of reach for Bishop Dunne, given their offensive struggles tonight. But just an impressive kind of 3 phases of the game for Bishop Lynch. Obviously, offensively, led by the rushing attack of Darius Boyd. Some good defensive plays with an interception in the first quarter, and then that special teams play. So, nothing but positives for Bishop Lynch.
I'll say this: if that touchdown didn't put this football game out of reach, it's going to be because Alex Orji donned a cape over the course of this last 8 minutes and 39 seconds. They need a lot to go their way for Bishop Dunne to be able to make a comeback tonight in this final 8 and change.
Yeah, that would be certainly impressive if we saw something along, something to that scale to get Bishop Dunne close to being able to get this a manageable game, or a game that can at least get close to overtime down the stretch.
We have seen a kickoff return for a touchdown once tonight for Bishop Dunne. They certainly wouldn't mind seeing another. B.J. Fleming, the artist of that. You see the ball back at the 25-yard line here for the kickoff. That, of course, the punishment for the excessive celebration penalty against Bishop Lynch on the touchdown. So a kickoff from their own 25, which, if you're looking for a silver lining for Bishop Dunne, they'll at least have good field position to start off what is a critical drive for them. Down 3 scores now with 8:39 to play. Fielded by B.J. Fleming at the 37, and he's got some running room across midfield, tripped up just barely. If he wasn't tripped up there, I believe it was Ben Haynes who got a hand on his foot. If not for that, there was more room for Fleming to find.
Yep, nice kickoff return there. Short kick, as you mentioned, fielded around the 38. So a nice run there for Bishop Dunne. So they at least have gotten onto the Friar side of the field, which that's been a challenge in the second half, is to have not just being close to midfield, just not be backed up in your own end zone. And that's kind of where the lot in life has been for Bishop Dunne. So if there is an opportunity to make some offensive progress, I mean, it's got to be now.
One thing they absolutely need to do is something positive on first down. Many possessions after, and I believe we're going to have another delay of game.
Well,
before I can even finish, this has been just the norm for Bishop Dunne ever since Simeon Evans left the football game. And I don't mean necessarily delays of game, although that's been part of the puzzle here of what I'm talking about. How many times have we seen this offense come out for 1st and 10, and before you blink, it's 1st and 15 or 2nd and 19 or 2nd and 21. They have put themselves in holes on the very first play of drives, and they're going to do it even more here now with a false start against Denham Brown, the right tackle. They just continue to put themselves behind the 8 ball when you do not have the time or the luxury to be behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, tough night. I mean, that's just the only way to sum it up for Bishop Dunne's offense. I mean, just a tough night when you're basically putting yourself in a position where it's really hard to do anything productive. 1st and 20 here, down 3 scores with a little over 8 minutes.
A defending state champion staring in the face of an 0-3 start in district play. Alex Orgy, flushed, deep in the pocket. Now runs to the near side, fires it downfield into several defenders, and it's knocked down. That was nearly hauled in by B.J. Fleming and would have been a 1st down if he was able to make the catch. Shades of
David Tyree.
Eli Manning, David Tyree in Super Bowl 42.
We're thinking the same thing. Yeah, like he's in David Tyree country. Slightly different stakes, but it didn't
just
look,
a hair different.
Yeah, wouldn't kind of had that.
It kind of felt that way though. Ball just falling out of the sky. One guy in the middle of several defenders. There were similarities. There's no doubt. But the one big difference, no catch.
Yeah, that's right. No catch.
2nd down and 20 now for Alex Orgy. Looking deep downfield again and well overshoots his target, trying to find Nicholas Johnson.
And I think we talked about this when the second half started with Alex Orgy coming in. He didn't play the first half. He is a sophomore, and I think the one thing that keeps coming up when you're seeing at least these last 2 passing plays, timing.
It's not there.
Yeah, the offensive timing just it isn't there. It's probably reps, not getting as many as probably the starter. So yeah, that's all they're seeing, and they're just clearly gifted players. It just comes out of time.
And the unfortunate reality is his suspension that kept him off the field for the first half plays a role in the fact that Simeon Evans is hurt in the first place, because that's the only reason Evans was playing defense tonight. Orgy on 3rd and long, this time way over the heads of anybody. The only receiver in the ballpark was Titus Evans, the freshman. And it will be 4th down and 20. And they're going to punt the football away. 8:12 on the clock, 3-score game. Again, they do still have all 3 timeouts left. And again, this is an organization. This is a program that certainly trusts their defense. But as you've pointed out already, you're running out of time thinking you're going to get 3 possessions still in this football game to try and score touchdowns and tie this game. Low snap, and he's down. He's down, and that is where the play ends. It's going to be Bishop Lynch football at the 33-yard line. Yet again, a miscue on the punt snap. This time a low snap. In the first quarter, it was a high snap over the head of Adrian Munoz. This time a low snap that forces the punter Munoz to go to his knees. He's down right there. That's the end of the play, and it will be 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line for Bishop Lynch.
Again, special teams for Bishop Dunne has had a difficult night. I think that's a pretty diplomatic way of saying that. It's been a tough night for Bishop Dunne. I'm sure Adrian Munoz at this point, there's not much he can do with some of the positions he's been put in. So Bishop Lynch here, obviously in a great spot to give the ball to Darius Boyd, eat some clock, and add to their lead.
Mr. 4-minute offense, Darius Boyd, and sure enough, gets the handoff here on 1st and 10. Beg your pardon, that's Isaiah Schmidtke getting the first handoff here of the drive. 23, not 24. Schmidtke, a sophomore, Boyd's backup, and has been very effective this year, averaging just shy of 10 yards a carry over the course of this season in spot duty in place of Darius Boyd. It's a big part of the future of this program for sure, as Boyd's a senior and will graduate this coming spring. Your lead back in this Bishop Lynch offense for the next 2 years, 2020 and 21, you can bet Isaiah Schmidtke's going to have an awful lot to say about who that individual is. 2nd down and 6 here, and Schmidtke's going to get it again. This time, not as much running room. Does fall forward for maybe a yard.
Yep, solid offensive drive so far for Bishop Lynch. Just looking to potentially get themselves in field goal range to add on some more points. Keep this game stretched out as much as possible, and at this point it's not even about adding points. It's just working that clock.
It is interesting when you think back on what we saw over the course of the final minute of the first half. As it appears we've lost our computer once again. We're going to try and get it back up and running here and get you guys a picture once again. The computer has been difficult on us this evening. The computer that runs our broadcast, and most specifically runs our cameras, has fought us more than we'd prefer to see this evening. This third down, we'll try and go back into a radio call for you and illustrate what's happening. That third down was a throw from Ritter to Isaiah Schmidtke on the near side that picked up maybe a yard, and it will be 4th down and about 4 for this Bishop Lynch offense.
Yeah, I think the only question here for Bishop Lynch is we don't have a picture, but we'll work to get it back to you as soon as possible. And it's 4th and 4. Will they go for field goal or just simply run a play to keep the clock running? Now approaching 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter with a 36-15 lead for the Friars. Looks like they're going to stay under center with Blaine Ritter. Mike?
Ritter with a I formation behind him, dotted by Schmidtke. Play action to Schmidtke, looks over the middle, tipped, and it falls incomplete right at the feet of Weston Walls. And it'll be a turnover on downs. Again, we do apologize for the lack of a picture right now. Our computer that runs the broadcast is unfortunately down at the moment. We're working to get that back up and running. Fortunately, we do at least still have audio. We've got audio and a Thursday Night Lights bug. That's what we're working with right now. So we will continue to bring you this broadcast in a pseudo radio format for the next couple of minutes until we, hopefully the next couple of moments until we get our computer back up and running and bring you a picture once again. But Alex Orgy and company take over once again. 1st and 10 from their own 27-yard line, but in a 36-15 hole. It'll be Orgy in shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. Orgy looks to his left, fires deep and well over his intended target, trying to find B.J. Fleming, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, he was looking for Fleming and overthrew him. Fleming was open, too. Had a chance there for first down yardage. I'm just going to comment, maybe our computer needs a parka. It got cold.
You know, it's unfortunate because we don't know what the issue is. This is year 1 of doing this broadcast in this format with the equipment that we're using this year, and this is the first time we've come across this issue. Perhaps it's a cold thing. We're not entirely sure, but again, we'll do everything we can to explain the action to you as Alex Orgy tries to throw on the near side for Grant Barksdale. They tried to set up the screen, and it goes through the hands of Barksdale, incomplete, and it will be 3rd down and 10. 5:43 to play, fourth quarter. 36-15 the score in favor of the Bishop Lynch Friars. Lost last year to Bishop Dunne in the state championship game, 13-9 on a final minute touchdown pass. Trying to exact some revenge tonight on their home field on senior night. And they've done quite a bit of that so far this evening with this 3-score lead. 3rd down and 10. Orgy had a shotgun, rolling to the far side, firing deep downfield. He had a man and overshot him once again. Titus Evans, the intended target, just across midfield. And that, frankly, David, has been one of the issues for Alex Orgy since he took over at the quarterback position at the start of the 3rd quarter. Most every throw he's made has been too high, has been too far.
Too high, too far. Timing's not there. You can tell he's got a lot of speed, though. I'm curious. I'm almost like expecting him to just keep it and run, you know, because so many quarterbacks, high school football, even pros now, they have such ability to run. If the passes aren't syncing up, let's see if you can move it down the field a little bit, but they will punt yet again with under 6 minutes left.
Punt falls at the 45-yard line off the foot of Adrian Munoz and checks up at the 43.
Hey, look.
And we have a picture back. Good work by our man Ian once again getting everything back up and running. We do appreciate you guys hanging with us over the course of this evening. That's certainly not ideal, but we've been making it work as best as possible tonight. And we appreciate you guys hanging with us through what has been really an interesting football game. And I started to get into this right before we started to lose our picture there. Think about what we thought about this football game as these two teams went to halftime. 21-15, fresh off of a kick return touchdown from B.J. Fleming and a 2-point conversion after that to make this a 6-point game. And we knew Bishop Dunne's getting the football out of the halftime break. You're thinking, okay, here comes a little momentum for the Falcons, and they've got something working. Instead, Bishop Dunne has not scored again tonight, and Bishop Lynch has opened up what is now a 21-point lead thanks to a Darius Boyd touchdown run, the Dylan Monsieur punt return for a touchdown, and of course the safety that touched off all of this in the third quarter to make it 23-15. A very impressive second half from this Bishop Lynch football team in a game where, I mean, again, this is a team that got blown out a week ago.
Yep.
Lost 54-14 against Parish Episcopal on homecoming. That's a hit to the gut. That is, you know, for 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old high school kids, that's a gut punch.
Sure, no question.
To respond this way, that's very impressive.
Absolutely, and this is, I mean, you know, rivalry games as they go. I mean, this is a big game for both programs, and you're right. It's just
Big handoff here, an awful lot of running room for Luke Paysor. Paysor inside the 15 and slides down to the 11. Finally dragged down from behind by Kendall Newsom. But not before he gets down inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I've noticed on these last two drives, Darius Boyd hasn't even been on the field.
I think at this point, up 21, I think, frankly, Greg Price and company are feeling pretty confident about putting this one in the win column and moving to 1-1 in TAPS Division I District 2 play, 4-4 on the season, and what will all but assuredly at this point drop Bishop Dunne, a defending state champion, to 0-3 in district play. Handoff goes to Paysor once again. He gets to the outside, but no further. Inside the 10 to about the 9.
Schmicky and Paysor getting some nice carries here in the fourth quarter. You know, comfortable lead for Bishop Lynch, and well on their way to getting their first win in district.
I'm still just I keep coming back to it. I'm impressed with the bounce back from Bishop Lynch after what was undoubtedly an embarrassing loss last week against now to be fair, an exceptionally gifted Parish Episcopal team.
And special teams has been big for Bishop Lynch tonight. Yeah, the safety, and then obviously the punt return touchdown. That's 9 points that their offense wasn't directly responsible for. Makes the effort easier.
Handoff goes to Aiden Howard up the middle, and the big defensive end runs it in for the touchdown. On senior night, Aiden Howard finds the end zone and puts an exclamation point on a big win for the Bishop Lynch Friars.
You know what? And you pointed it out. Senior night for the senior, Aiden Howard. That's the only reason I didn't get kind of bent out of shape that Logan Monroe didn't get a shot to get in there. This guy's done everything. But then I'm like, you know, he's a junior. Simmer down. He's got his entire senior year here for other things. But, yeah, great run there by Aiden Howard as the Friars pile it on.
Just 3:25 to play now in the fourth quarter, and they have opened up a 4-touchdown lead. I can tell you, of all things I thought I would see tonight, 43-15 Bishop Lynch was not on the list. Did not see this coming tonight, but a very, very impressive performance from the Friars. And as you said, they're pouring it on at this point.
Yeah, you know, things can become cumulative for a team that's struggling. Bishop Dunne has been struggling offensively tonight, and obviously the special teams, they've struggled. You know, eventually your defense can't just hold the entire thing for the entire game.
Right.
And I think that's what we're seeing here in the fourth quarter, is just that starting to take place.
Aiden Howard, a 6'3", 272-pound senior, one of the better defensive ends across the state, on his way to play college football, still trying to decide where he's going to go. Colorado's school that's interested in him and that he's interested in. Villanova also fits that bill, an FCS school, a very good FCS program historically, and they've piqued his interest as well. So still trying to figure out where he's going to go play in college, but a young man that's going to go play Division I college football and is a very talented defensive end. Gets a little love on the offensive side of the ball and gets the handoff for the touchdown to put this one away.
Yeah, just a clinic really in the second half for Bishop Dunne.
Outscoring Bishop Dunne in the second half 22-0. Bishop Dunne will have it at their own 30-yard line. Now down 28 at this point. It's academic. 3:25 on the clock in the fourth. And Bishop Lynch will go to 4-4 on the year, 1-1 in TAPS Division I District 2 play. Bishop Dunne will fall to 0-3 in district play. They'll fall to 4-5 overall on the season.
Yeah, and I think if you're Coach Michael Johnson here, you tell your kids, look, we still got plenty of stuff to work on. We can work on it here in the last 3.5 minutes. Alex Orgy may be playing under center for us next week.
That's entirely true, yeah.
Let's just keep working at it.
Yeah, this is an opportunity right now as Barksdale gets the handoff and picks up about a yard. You got to figure out as a program, okay, where do you go from here? Because as we talked about, these are teams that are going to be playing in the TAPS Division I playoffs. Who are you going to be come playoff time? Perhaps, depending on the severity of Simeon Evans' injury, Bishop Dunne may be a team that's led by Alex Orgy at the quarterback position. We're not sure. Again, we don't know we hope that the severity of Simeon Evans' injury is not very high. We hope that he'll be just fine, and maybe he's back out here playing a week from now. Or beg your pardon. Well, this is beneficial for Bishop Dunne as it relates to that injury. They at least are going into a bye week. They have 2 weeks until their next game. They play Prestonwood Christian on November the 8th, the final game of their regular season. This is their penultimate regular season game, and then they play Prestonwood Christian on the 8th. So they do have some time to perhaps, hopefully, get their starting quarterback, Simeon Evans, healthy. But in the meantime, and if he's not going to be able to come back this season, you need to figure out what do you have with the sophomore number 10, Alex Orgy, in there, a quarterback, showing off a little bit of the speed that you mentioned earlier there as he gets to the edge. Not quite to the first down marker, but close to it.
And if you're Bishop Lynch, you know this is your home finale, and you've got that first district win under your belt. They've got a couple big road games over the next 2 weeks, Prestonwood Christian, and then ending with JP2. It's a nice tall task there to end the season.
2:37 on the clock here, fourth quarter, 3rd down and 3. Forthcoming for Alex Orgy and company. In shotgun once again. Again, it's Barksdale in the backfield with him. Orgy's going to keep it himself off the fake. A little hesitation, and he's got the first down just barely. I don't know if the hesitation was wise. He may have been better served to just take the ground that was in front of him, but he did eventually get the first down.
Yeah, we talked about the last drive. It's, at what point does this quarterback just run the ball?
Yeah.
Because clearly he's got speed.
That's where he's best.
Yeah, and he picked up the first down. So maybe in a short yardage situation like that 3rd down, that's what they saw, and we'll see what they can do here over the last 2 minutes.
You don't obviously have the luxury to do a whole lot of running of the football when you're down 3 scores, but at this point down 4 scores and understanding that a comeback is not possible, why not do some more of this as Orgy is very close to, may have yet another first down as he scrambles across midfield. And it is indeed yet another first down according to our official Joe Greer.
Sure, and make no mistake about it, obviously Bishop Lynch getting the win tonight, huge win for them, disappointing night for Bishop Dunne, but this drive does have value for the Falcons if you're, if you're looking at to go into a bye week talking about what they can get done. So let's see what happens.
Orgy out of shotgun, throws it deep downfield. It was on target to Nicholas Johnson, but through his hands and incomplete. He was heavily covered. Take a look around the district. Parish Episcopal 2-0 now in district play after their win a week ago against this Bishop Lynch football team. They are on their bye week right now. Prestonwood Christian 1-0 in district play. JP2 1-1 on the season. They beat Bishop Dunne. They lost to Parish Episcopal. And Bishop Lynch will now move to 1-1. Bishop Dunne will fall to 0-3 and last place in district play. Orgy rolling out here, trying to find something downfield, runs out of bounds after a pickup of maybe a yard. And it will be 3rd and 10, under 90 seconds to play now. We do appreciate you guys joining us tonight here on the final Friday night edition of Thursday Night Lights, at least in the regular season. Once we get into the playoffs, all bets are off. Who knows where we'll be at that point. We will do at least 2 playoff games this season, so we've got at minimum 4 broadcasts left in our Thursday Night Lights package this season. 2 more regular season games. Again, we're at South Oak Cliff and Kimball 1 week from yesterday. And then we will finish up the year with Cedar Hill and DeSoto, a really good matchup in District 7 6A. Orgy looking downfield, tipped and nearly intercepted. Big hit No flag. The near side crowd wondered if they might have seen a flag fly in there. But nothing, and it will be 4th down and 9.
This will probably be the first 4th down in the second half for Bishop Dunne, where we've seen Coach Mike Johnson decide to actually go for it. I can't think of a scenario.
I don't know. It looks like they are going to punt.
The punting crew.
I think at this point you're down 28. There's not a whole lot to be gained at this point by going for it.
Yeah,
punt the football away. Let Bishop Lynch kneel on it and
get on out of town.
And honestly, I think to a certain extent, lick your wounds and try and figure out, okay, where do you go from here?
Right.
You've got one game left in your regular season against Prestonwood Christian, and then you go into the playoffs and you try and figure out, okay, how do we kind of hit the reset button and try and win football games? It's not going to be easy, but there is talent on this team that they can utilize and perhaps find something over the course of, again, they're going to their bye week, so they've got a little bit of time to perhaps figure some things out. Whistles there as the ball bounced off the chest of Munoz. May have been an inadvertent whistle because he never had possession of the football on his knees, so there was no need to whistle the play dead. It may have been a slightly premature whistle. Hate when that happens. 4th down and 9. 80 seconds to play here from Rufino Stadium, and what has been a very impressive, really 48 minutes worth of football from Bishop Lynch. Certainly the second half was where they did their best to pull away in this football game as the punt from Munoz bounces inside the 5 and just barely into the end zone. But really from the jump, an impressive performance from Bishop Lynch. Offensively, defensively, special teams. They came out here and played arguably their best football game this season tonight.
Yeah, definitely a complete game. I was just looking at the punter, Adrian Munoz, like channeling his energy. Like he wanted to kick that ball to Mesquite. He was just like, kick this ball.
It's been a frustrating night for Adrian Munoz.
Just let's get out of here. Yeah.
If there's one individual on the Bishop Dunne football team that feels the frustration of this football game and of this night, it is the punter, Adrian Munoz. The snap goes over his head on the first punt of the game. That sets up the early touchdown that made it 7-0. The punt snap that forced him to leap to make the catch, forces him to come down on the end line for the safety early on in the second half that led to the 23-15 score. At that point, it has been, he had a punt returned for a touchdown. Yeah. If anybody's felt the frustration, it's Adrian Munoz. Of course, the punt snap that forced him to go down to his knees that ended the play and gave Bishop Lynch the ball at the 33-yard line. It's been
tough night.
A very tough night for number 26, Adrian Munoz, the senior punter and kicker.
And he's done everything he possibly could.
It's not his fault. It really isn't.
Not at all. Yeah.
Not to cast blame, but it's not. Frankly, it doesn't fall at the feet of Adrian Munoz. The snaps to him have fallen at the feet of Adrian Munoz, and that's really been the problem.
Yeah.
But 37 seconds to play, and one last kneel down for Blaine Ritter, and that will put this one in the books. Bishop Dunne, the defending champions in TAPS Division I, falling to Bishop Lynch tonight. The Friars with a very impressive 43-15 win. Bishop Lynch moves to 1-1 in district play, and far more importantly for the Friars and the psyche of this football team, a dominant win over their rivals tonight, 43-15 the final.
Sure, and as you mentioned it, that big loss last week to Parish Episcopal and homecoming. This is Bishop Lynch's final home game of the season, senior night. They did it right. 43-15, big win over Bishop Dunne. They've got a couple of road games coming up to finish their regular season before the TAPS Division I playoffs start in mid-November. Meanwhile, Bishop Dunne has got a week to just try to regroup, have a bye week, figure out what their situation is with quarterback, try to get a win in district, and then they'll go in the playoffs, perhaps, maybe somewhere in that 13-14 seed. We'll see.
43-15 the final score. Certainly the story more than anybody else over the course of tonight is Darius Boyd. 3 first-half touchdown runs, had a 4th touchdown here in the 4th quarter to, for all intents and purposes, put the game away at that point. That made it 29-15, and as you mentioned at the time, it was hard to see Bishop Dunne scoring 2 touchdowns in the final 11 minutes of that football game, and they weren't able to score even one. Darius Boyd, the story of the game tonight, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, fantastic. It's almost like someone who's able to retire early. You know, you work hard in the early part. You don't have to do as much later on, because this first half with those 3 touchdowns over 130 yards put Bishop Lynch in a position to, command the second half, and they did that, due in large part to his efforts in the rushing game. So just an all-around great performance.
You see the celebration there at the kind of spanning the 30 to the 40-yard line on the left side of the field with this Bishop Lynch football team. These are 2 teams that maybe this year probably don't compete for state championships. There are teams that are more talented than these 2 teams most likely this season. Parish Episcopal certainly comes to mind. Fort Worth, there are a couple teams out in Fort Worth that I think fit that bill as well. Nolan Catholic, certainly the first one that you'd think of. Probably not state championship contenders this year, Bishop Lynch and Bishop Dunne.
But know.
This win definitely means a lot to these kids, because this is what has become a big rivalry for these 2 schools. Very clearly, as you see on your screen right now, this win means something to these kids.
Yep, a lot of happiness, a lot of relief, great senior night. And to your point, yeah, absolutely. There's other TAP schools that are having stronger seasons, but I'll tell you what, man, that playoff format is just you just don't know. So that's what makes November fun. Obviously, UIL playoffs speak for themselves, but
sure,
certainly, no backseat with TAPS in the parochial school.
It is interesting that, because it wouldn't be the first time that we see a team struggle in the regular season, get hot at the right time, and make a deep run, perhaps win a state championship, or at least maybe get to the state semifinals, whatever the case may be. So by no means is Bishop Dunne's season over, and certainly if Simeon Evans is able to get healthy, that would make a big difference for this football team. So there's still things out in front for this Bishop Dunne Falcons football team, but for Bishop Lynch, the team that you're looking at right now, a big jolt of life for this program, as that's head coach Greg Price pointing out Aiden Howard, who we saw run for a touchdown there in the 4th quarter to put this football game away 43-15. That is the final game you're going to see number 9 play on this field, and they're making sure to give him and the rest of the senior class their moment right now.
Yeah, pretty cool to watch that. That's just a fun thing to see how fired up these kids are, and why not? Nice, cool, late October night on a Friday night. Texas high school football. It's kind of everything you ask for.
Yes, indeed. That's going to do it for us here from Rufino Stadium. Our final score, 43-15 in favor of Bishop Lynch tonight as they move to 4-4 on the year, 1-1 in district play. Bishop Dunne falls to 4-5, 0-3 in TAPS Division I District 2. Our thanks to the athletic directors, Dunne's Kenneth Davis and DeLon Williams, and from Bishop Lynch, their head coach, Greg Price. Shout out to both coaches as well for being so generous with their time and information about their 2 football teams. Without their help and support, this broadcast is not possible. Also want to thank our sponsors, Texas Health Resources. Our engineers are Don Hazen and Dode Bigley. Our photographer is Raul Garcia. Our director this evening is Ian Gordon. Our digital coordinator back in Dallas is Nick Blackhall, as well as Jocelyn Escobedo. And our executive producer is Sean Hamilton. For David Goins here with me in the booth, I'm Mike Leslie. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Your final score one last time, 43-15. Bishop Lynch exacts some revenge on Bishop Dunne in a rematch of last year's TAPS Division I state championship game. We'll see you next week on Thursday Night Lights as we head back to the UIL and the 5A ranks. There you see it on your screen. Kimball and South Oak Cliff, a big 5A football game 1 week from yesterday. We hope to see you then. So long from Rufino, everyone. We'll see you next week.